All right, we are live. Let's see how awkward this is going to be now. Let me post on Twitter what I'm doing before I get started, and then we'll get everything set up. All right. I don't know if I can do that before I actually start the stream or not. We'll put it on Parlor 2. And let's get started. Let me pull it up on my Surface. So am I signed in? I'm not signed in. That's not good. That way, when someone stops by chat, like they did in my test stream this morning, I'll hopefully be able to see they're here. That way, when someone stops by chat, mute that. All right, we're just going to get started right where we left off in the test stream today. I've cut the light off because I think maybe you'll be able to see it better. I'm working on Wow, Pow, and Bam, page 10. I should probably write that down. Issue 1, page 10. This is my webcomic over at wowpowbam.com. This is a experiment I'm doing. I quit drawing 20 years ago. I'm trying to learn. I just started back a few months ago. I'm trying to teach myself how to draw, and one of the ways I'm doing that is making my own little free web comic. So the whole thing's an experience trying to learn how to draw. Anybody wants to stop by and give their 2 cents, give any kind of advice, or just hang out, you're more than welcome. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to draw without this light on or not. Let's turn it on and see how bad it looks. It looks way better in real life. Give this stream a second to catch up with me. I don't know. We'll try it both ways. We'll see. I'm just going to get started. I had a lot of hard time this morning with I had the wrong pencils and stuff out, and I was too dumb to realize it. So hopefully I'll do much better now. Everything's a struggle when you're untrained and you're teaching yourself. Like, I've got the layouts for this first panel pretty well done. I could just go straight into the inking part if I wanted to and probably be okay. But like I said, I'm trying to learn how to draw. So I'm going to take as few shortcuts as I can till I know what I'm doing. It's not probably wise to take shortcuts when you're trying to learn something. Shortcuts are for masters and people that know what they're doing. Again, if anybody that's friends with me on Twitter that wants to hang out and stream with me, please let me know. Conditioner's getting on. I'm hoping that that won't be a problem with this headset I'm using. It's got noise canceling on it. But if anybody has a problem with it, let me know. I don't have to have air conditioning. I'm a grown man. I can do without it. But the only reason I'm using this headset instead of the Yeti mic is because it would be nice not to burn up, but I didn't have to. Let's see. Right now I'm drawing Pow's face, or he will be Pow. Technically, he's not got his superpowers yet. We're doing the origin of Wow, Pow, and Bam. I haven't officially put the webcomic on the website yet, but if you do go to the website and just look at the virtual sketchbook, hey, Flyfox Pro is here. Audio sounds fine. Thank you, Flyfox. Thank you for showing up. If you want to be in the stream yourself, you just let me know, and I'll send you a link on Twitter. But you're more than welcome just to hang out and chat and give your advice and help me figure out what's going on. Like I said, I'm a major newbie at everything, not just drawing, but streaming, making websites, making Twitter. I don't know. It feels very awkward to do this. Evidently, you're restricted to. Wow, what is wrong with my pencil? I can't get a clear line here. It's going to take me a while to warm up. Been working too much. Ain't had time to draw. Not very good to begin with, so the circumstances have to be perfect for me to do anything. I feel like I'm already making mistakes, but I'm just going to jump right in there and get some work done. Oh, thank you, Fly Fox. I appreciate any criticism. It don't all have to be good. We have to, when you're trying to learn, you have to be able to take advice from other people. I think when I was younger and I never really worked on my craft, I wasn't smart enough to do that. But hopefully, now that I'm an old man and it's too late for me, I'm at least smart enough to listen to some advice now. But I do appreciate any compliment or any criticism that's good natured. I don't know if you've been by my website any, but let's see. I've already made major mistakes to color in his cut. I'm gonna go ahead and erase all that. I don't know if I've got enough sense to draw and talk at the same time. I knew I was doing something wrong when I was doing that. I just erase that whole arm. Why not? Some characters I color in their clothes, and some I don't. And it's hard to remember, quite frankly. But I've got my references over here. I've got my last pages I've drawn. I think I showed them earlier, but I'll show them again. Well, I settled my nerves. I just drunk a Kickstart. Those things kind of wire me up. This is Wow Pow and Bam page 6. You got the guys celebrating them flirting with some girls, or some girls flirting with them. The two guys aren't used to it, so they're pretty impressed. But their moment is spoiled pretty quickly when the village idiots show up. They're a little wannabe gang. They call themselves War Campaign. They're just bullies, is all they are. They show up and they start causing trouble. Have a little bit of a confrontation between Paul and them. It ends up in one of the bullies stealing Paul's comic book. It's called Nationalist American. It's sort of, supposed to be like Captain America. Anyway, Paul gets an argument with him, and he rips his comic book up. You should never do that. Paul's very brave, and he fights the bully and punches him in the face. But Paul's not that strong. Paul's kind of weak, and it didn't really do any good, and it just causes trouble. And Paul looks back towards his friends to see if they've got his back, but no, they're running down the street. So when in Rome, Paul does the same thing. The bullies get mad, and they start chasing him. And that leaves us where we are now. We've got page 10 here. They're trying away from the bullies, run the street. That's what I'm going to work on, and hopefully get finished tonight. Really should be able to. Shouldn't be a problem. If you aren't familiar with it, I would look up the books by Andrew Loomis on Internet Archive. The free books are amazingly helpful. Okay, are those books for art, I assume? That's one thing I've got going for me now that I didn't when I was younger. You've got things like YouTube. You've got tons of resources. I bought a bunch of how to draw books then and just sort of half casually paid attention to them, not like I should have. And I've still got all those books now, but I've also got unlimited access to YouTube and internet. Got friends on Twitter that are willing to help. So it's pretty great. And we've got 2 people watching. That's exciting. Feel free to chat with me and the Fly Fox. Fly Fox is a nice guy I've started talking to recently on Twitter. Very helpful guy. I believe you're friends with Matt, maybe? Matt Croats. He was in a gaming stream I did the other night. I really like Matt. He's a really smart, likable fellow. I hope he'll show up tonight. That would be nice. All right, I need to calm down, pay attention what I'm doing because I'm making more mistakes. Yeah, Matt's a great guy. Very talented guy, too. I really, really like Kyrie a lot. I'm not just saying that. If you go by my blog, generalgrudge.com, I have a really nice Kyrie review on there, and I want to see Matt really be successful because he is one of the good guys in the crowdfunding comic books. He doesn't start a lot of drama, doesn't cause a lot of trouble, just puts out the work, gets along with everybody that's willing to get along with him. A good example of how it should be done. Let's see, try to add a little life to my characters here. I had the wrong mechanical pencil this morning when I was trying to do this, and there was something wrong with it. It was broken or something, and I couldn't get it to draw correctly. And I was so flustered with live streaming, I didn't realize what I was doing. And there's going to be some more of that right now. Like I've got the anatomy wrong on this arm. I'm going to have to take a deep breath and start getting it correct. My goal is to pencil this whole thing and get it inked tonight. I may not be a good artist yet, but I'm a relatively quick artist. I can usually crank out a penciled and ink page a day, and that's with procrastinating and goofing off a lot too. So eventually, I'm gonna have to get real serious here and get some references out, get my models set up. These little models here are what's helped me the most. These little figure drawing models. I don't know if you can see them on your screen. That's helped me more than anything because I'm completely ignorant with anatomy and that sort of thing. It even helps me with the shading when I've got this light set up. Fly Fox, can you see the pencils okay? Do I need to cut the light off? It's hard for me to see. I've got my Surface Pro here where I can look at it at the chat, but it's hard to see how plain it is on that. My computer's behind me, so I'd have to turn around to see how well that's going. Yeah, you can see them. That's good. This is already working out way better than it did this morning. Dee Dee showed up this morning in chat, but I guess I had it paused or something. I never seen she was here till I watched it later. She's a very nice lady. She's always very helpful to all young artists on Twitter and YouTube. She's helping out a lot of people just out of the kindness of her heart. She hasn't got anything to sell that I'm aware of or anything, but she's just a nice lady and helping people out. Go check out her channel if you haven't. Yeah, Dee Dee is. She's a very special person. I'm starting to find out there's a lot of good people in the community. It gets a bad rap, because of all the drama and infighting, but there's actually a lot of good people like Doug and Dee Dee and Doug Tenaple. He never owes me anything, but he's always been supportive and helpful and nice. Lots of good people. Matt, Skinny, just lots of really good people that just love comic books, and they're not trying to make money, but just trying to create. And that sort of helps life go along, being able to create things, being able to enjoy life. It gives you a little bit of purpose and stuff. It's a lot better than what I had been doing for years, and that was just playing video games in my, for my spare time, my hobby. Very awkward. I don't know. I'm just sort of out of my comfort level here. I'm drawing, but I'm not really paying it much attention. That's part of this learning how to stream, I guess. Gary Shipman. Which one is Gary Shipman? Is he the guy that does Dragon, whatever, or is he the guy that does Mighty Mouse? I'm bad with horrible names. I probably follow him on Twitter. I've probably backed his books, but I'm not sure. I can't remember which one he is. Titan, yeah, I've definitely backed Titan. That book looks beautiful. Really good art. I may not follow Gary on Twitter. I can't remember, but I've definitely backed his book. I imagine it should be coming relatively soon. I watched a couple of live streams tonight myself. I watched a little bit of the Hut stream. He's sort of the one watching his streams. Sort of what made me think, maybe I should start streaming my drawing as well. That looks fun, but it looks easier than it is. I think my lines are horrible, really thick. I can fix all this when I ink it, I guess. Yeah, Kevin Sharp. Yeah, I've backed that. He's a great artist. My goodness, I look forward to that book. He's being real smart with that too. A lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for He-Man and Thundercats and stuff, and that's obviously what he's going after. That book looks like it's going to be very successful. I got to admit, it's fun enjoying comic books again. I quit buying monthly comic books in the early 2000s at some point. Just quit. It got so bad. I noticed this identity politics and the deconstruction of the characters way before most people seem to. And it really disillusioned me on the hobby. I was the definition of a hardcore comic book collector. Even right now, up in my attic, I have 10,000 comic books. I love them. But they ran me off. I quit buying them. But when crowdfunding started again, I started very cautiously backing people and supporting things. Wow, there's something about this panel that's hard to same process more than that. It's got something on the paper or something. I don't know. I'm hoping once I get off this panel, which I could do fairly soon, that I won't have this problem. Gary deleted his Twitter not long ago. Didn't feel it was worth time. There's a lot of these crowdfunding guys that get in trouble on Twitter. They get involved in the drama and stuff when they should just be making comic books. The drama is a quick, easy way to sell, but I think it burns you out and it burns your audience out. I think it's bad for the whole deal. I'm not saying I don't get involved in the drama sometimes either, but I try not to, and I try to discourage other people from doing it. Can you hear me now? That's going to be a problem when I'm not listening to anything in the background. This headset will cut itself off thinking I'm not doing anything. So maybe I can put some music on in the background or something. Thank you for telling me. I didn't even notice it happen. What can I put on in the background? Audiobook, of course. That's usually what I like to do when I draw. I either listen to somebody live streaming in the background, some preaching, or an audiobook. Right now, I'm going through all the Dune books. I'd never listened to them before. I'm really enjoying them, so I'm going to load up God Emperor of Dune. If for no other reason, just to keep my mic working. I just thought you were real quiet until I asked the question. I should have knew. I heard the microphone beep. I guess I just thought that it was the battery was running low. But no, I talked through that whole thing. A lot of moving parts into trying to learn how to stream and draw and make a website, trying to learn Photoshop. Just a lot going on here. Right now I'm drawing Jacob. He's going to be the character Bam in the comic. If you've been to my website, you can see the character profiles. I wrote some detailed character profiles, gave some plot points to the series. I think this is going to be a very original property. My art not very good, but I think my writing's good. I think my character creation is better than most of the crowdfunded comics you're seeing. Of course, I may just be delusional too, but I kind of don't want to talk and listen to this Doom book because I'm enjoying it. Maybe I'll play something else in the background. Let's see. I'll just put something on YouTube here and just turn the sound down. Here, there's a Mike Miller stream. No, that's not playing. There's probably an easier answer for all this. It says Doug Carrot's still streaming. Oh, well, you know what? I'll just listen for the beep next time and I'll turn it back on. I always listen to instrumental. Yeah, I like to listen to music, but mostly audio books. Like when I first started drawing, I listened to all the Lord of the Rings books again. That's very enjoying. It's fun to have a hobby where you can multitask and do things you may not take the time to normally do. If you're doing something else, it's very relaxing. I'm hoping maybe streaming will end up where I can end up chatting and spending some time with some friends I've made on Twitter in the comic book community. A lot of good people. I'm hoping that they'll end up start coming to the stream, hanging out. Or maybe I could go to their stream. It doesn't have to be on this channel. I could care less about that. No one watches my channel anyway. Let's see. Bam has a Pink Floyd shirt on for no apparent reason in this set, but there's nothing on the back of it. I thought about 1, 2, 3, 4, putting like a tour date or something on the back. Hey, Ellis Goodson here. I listen to music when writing. Ellis Goodson is an incredibly good artist. I am very happy he's here. I really enjoy watching his stream. He has a stream on, I think it's Wednesday nights with his friend. I try to watch them when I can. It's hard to remember to watch streams all the time. I just messed up that nose. Let's just erase that whole face. That face is horrible. Oh, so 4 people watching. That's exciting. Thank you very much for showing up. I'm having a hard time talking drawing. Oh, yeah, that's right, because I see you there too, don't I? That's right, Fox. You know, they're very enjoyable to watch. Very laid back stream. Although I must say I'm a little disturbed because right before I started streaming, I saw a video on Ellis's channel where he was taking his shirt off. I don't know what world we're living in now. He's gone all Kardashian on us, I guess. That nose is completely wrong. I don't think I can draw and talk at the same time. Went in shading on it and hope nobody notices, I guess. In this panel, Jacob's looking behind him. He's seeing the bullies. He's a little worried because he's a good guy, but he's not very brave. He's young and a little insecure. His neck's too big, too. Maybe I should just shadow that in and hope for the best. That looks really bad. At least I'm getting to where I can tell what I'm doing something wrong. I may not know how to fix it, but I can see it. I got some bare shoulder look on the last stream. You got some big abs on there though too, so that's something I've never had, even in my prime. If I ever had one, was abs. So you got that going for you, Ellis. Lady killer. All right, I can color his. Need to get the lead where it gets soft on one side where I can do this easier. That's going to be another thing to worry about live streaming, doing something embarrassing on there accidentally. You know, you get used to living your life where nobody except your loved ones are looking at you, but if you're live streaming, you better be careful. You might do something or say something embarrassing. You have a YouTube video where you showed you walking into your room. You said something about naked old man or something, and you can see your abs. Sure enough. I'm pretty sure you could. I may have dreamed that. I may have fantasized that. I don't know. I hope not, though. I hope I'm not that far gone. Something like, I think you said something like old man nudity or something. I may be exaggerating about the abs. I'm just trying to make a little humor here. Trying to pretend I have a personality if I'm going to live stream. Sense of humor. I don't know. Don't nuke it. Own it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just making a joke. I thought that was the humor of it. As I color in Jacob's shirt, I can tell the problem with his neck being too big even more so now. And this is a bad habit that I'm not fixing right now that I need to fix. If I see something wrong, I need to not be lazy and just fix it. Bad habits are hard to break, especially if you're as old as I am. I need to work on backgrounds. That's one of the hardest things to learn, I think. But a lot of these panels, once you put the word balloons and stuff in, you're kind of just wasting your time putting a background. So I'm not going to put backgrounds panels for sure. And again, I'll give anybody not that there's anything prestigious about being on my small stream, but if anybody wants to join in and talk on the stream, just let me know on Twitter, and I'll be happy to send you a stream invite. I don't know what it is about trying to talk and draw at the same time, but it just isn't working out. Also, my voice isn't very conductive to doing YouTube. I have a very redneck sounding voice. I wish I had a voice like Ellis and them. Their stream is almost ASMR. You know, it's very relaxing to sit and listen to them talk. They have a very natural conversation between the two of them. Works really well. Let me look at Twitter real quick, see if anybody wanted to be on. Twitter. 2 notifications. Okay. Back to drawing. The hard part's actually the layouts usually when I draw. I can see the stuff in my mind. I've never had a trouble with that. I can visualize it, see it, a story, even a universe in my head. It's just not having any training and not until recently not having a lot of putting the effort into learning how to draw. It's hard to put it on paper. Comic book art, I think, is one of the hardest mediums to do correctly. And if you don't believe that, just look at most of these crowd-funded books that are coming out, especially from the old Comics Gate people. Some of them should be ashamed what they're trying to charge you money for. Let's see. This would where it'd be helpful if I was using my models right now. That helps with my shading, actually. Which there's no reason I can't do that. I'm being lazy. Let's turn here. I still have the model. I don't know if you can see it, but I think this was the exact model I used to do the layout for that. Whoops. They're awkward. They're very fragile. You got to be real careful with them. Probably the best way to do it is to take a picture of it instead of just having them sit here like I am. But again, I'm being lazy. I know nothing about inking. I have never properly learned how to ink or even tried it till recently. When you see these pages and I put them on Twitter and I say they're inked, I'm being a little disingenuous. All I've done is took a marker or a pen and I've went over my pencils so that they scan better. I've got a pretty good scanner, but it doesn't do good with pencils, so I ink over them so they scan better. I've decided the only way to do comics is to have the pencils designed to death. Make inking I've got a little stuff on my screen, a mellow zen experience. All the hard brain work has been done. Yeah, I agree. I enjoy the inking part, if I shouldn't even call it inking, but it is very relaxing. You're just finishing a part, feel like you're accomplishing something. And I've learned the hard way not to use too dark pencils when I do the pencils because that makes the inking harder. I actually watched a video on Elsa's channel, an older video, where he was bragging about. Let's see if I can find that lead. I bought some on Amazon. I think this is it. It's a 0.54B. Beautiful lead if you're drawing with pencil and you're doing only pencil drawing, but it is a monster to ink over. But when I get done doing my origin for my webcomic, I'm going to go back to just doing my pencil drawings, and that's going to be the lead I use because I really thought it was pretty. I like good dark pencils, but it's not always the best way to make a comic. And and they smudge really bad. It's almost like charcoal almost. But I realized how problematic they were going to be when I started trying to ink over them because they were so dark. I couldn't tell what I'd inked and what I hadn't inked, and it was a real mess. But anyway, I need to work on this hand. This hand's very lazy. If you keep doing things the lazy way, I'm not going to make any progress. See, I got a hand here. I can look at that, can I? I don't know how to think about the lighting in this second panel. Arguably, the lighting would be behind him, but his shirt's black, so that's not a problem. Probably, and I can't worry about the shadowing on his neck because I did that because it was too big. Again, he doesn't look like a teenager. He looks. I'm getting a little closer though. He might look 20s this time. Jacob is a little insecure. He's a young guy that he's got big orange ginger hair. He's got acne that he can't control. He feels invisible around the girls at school. A little insecure. But eventually he's going to get superpowers, and it's going to be kind of in his superhero form, he's going to be kind of the opposite he is now. He's going to be very powerful, very outlandish, but he's still going to have his same physical appearance. He's still going to have the ginger hair, and he's still going to have the acne, which he's a little disappointed in. But he'll eventually grow to not let that bother him. Believe it or not, I've got a lot of backstory to all these characters. Just need to learn how to draw them. Okay, the next panel is going to be a little problematic because I did the most minimal layout for it I could. So I'm going to have to do a little reference and stuff. Slow down. Let's see. I could be the middle guy running there. Stand you up. See if I can get you to stand up. We'll work on Paul first. I have a hard time drawing small things. If you're going to draw a comic book, you have to draw panels, and you can't draw everything massive. So that's going to be a big learning experience for me. I genuinely considered like drawing everything in like one or two, panels per page, and then putting it all together in Photoshop. But I thought that wouldn't be conducive to me learning how to draw. Part of me learning how to draw is probably me trying to learn how to draw small things. Ellis Goodson says, I've learned the secret from watching Finch videos. You pencil, then erase, all that hard work, then do neat final pencils. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I'll have to look into that. So much to learn and so little time to do it in, especially if you're working a full-time job like I am in a paper mill. You come home tired. It's hard to find the energy to do stuff, but you got to. You're never going to get good not trying, that's for sure. I can't remember what the bottom of his pants look like. Alright, what's his hand going to look like in this angle? Have his thumb here. Have his 1, 2, 3, 4. David Finch. I will do that. Ellis, I will definitely do that when I get done here tonight. The biggest thing that made me want to start drawing again is watching all these professional artists draw. It's almost like magic. I really enjoy watching Doug TenNapel draw live. He makes everything look so simple, and I know that he's done it for years and years and years. He's learned the hard way. But it's like watching a professional artist draw is just like magic. It's just beautiful. All right, that arm's too big. Let's fix it before we get too lazy to attach to it. It's a hard one to pull off. And what little I did draw years ago, I just draw big burly superheroes. I didn't even draw a lot of ladies, women, definitely no children. So one thing that's good about doing this webcomic, it takes me out of my wheelhouse and makes me draw stuff I'm not familiar with. If you just draw a lot, you never really learn. That was my problem when I was younger. I just drew what I wanted to, and if somebody said otherwise, I'd say, no, I just want to do what I want to do, because I'm young and stupid. And here we are, 20-some years later, no further off than I was then. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming by for my first official stream. It's more helpful than you can imagine, not just the advice, but also just the experience of seeing how things work. Like my air conditioner is running right now, but I think my headset is noise canceling, so hopefully you're not picking that up. I do not have that luxury if I stream a video game because I have to use the Yeti mic and it picks up everything in the house. Alright, where's the shadowing going to be on this? Do I even care at this point? I mean, I know I have to learn that eventually. Nothing's going to look real till I learn the shadowing, but I don't know. It's hard to know when to learn and when to just move forward when you're trying to learn to draw. Pardon me, my pencils are a little too dark here. In this panel, you have Paul. He's caught up to his friends, actually passing them by a little bit. He's a little more relatively athletic than they are. But the big part is Huey, the overweight kid, he's falling behind. So they're going to have to stop back and wait on him a little bit because they don't want to leave their friend completely behind. And that's going to be the ironic thing about Huey. He's an overweight kid, but he's going to get superpower where he's going to start off like a generic Flash. He's going to be the fastest boy on Earth, even though he's still overweight. And it's pretty obvious when he's even costume, But he can't help that. All the boys are going to learn over time to get over a lot of the insecure things they feel. And hopefully grow up a little bit. Not worry about what other people think of them so much. And be their own men. I'm really not sure what that leg's doing. Say I'm off work tomorrow, so I hope Ellis and Scott will stream because I'll be able to watch it if I remember it. I'm bad. I need to put notifications on for that, don't I? I never remember to do that. And I usually find streams, especially Doug's, when they're finished. I can't tell by the thumbnail what I've done with this hand on Jacob here. I guess I'll just put a fist here. Yeah, this panel looks really trash. I'll probably erasing the whole thing. I'm definitely going to have to erase Huey here. I think he's too big. I want to draw him struggling, running, and falling behind, but I don't want it to be too ridiculously comical. Let's see, let's set this model up. He's Huey. Yeah, it's another annoying thing about these models. The hands come off when you're trying to pose them. It's very annoying. They all come with interchangeable hands and weapons and stuff, but I don't ever use those because it's too pain in the butt to do. In fact, I'm not even going to put that back on him. I ain't got time for that. They are very annoying to set up. But once you get them set up, if you're like me and you don't know what you're doing, they're pretty helpful. Firefox Pro. I have purposely tried to ape Purge and CC Beck. Is my mic went out again? No, it's working. Okay. Ellis Goodson. I will. Writing essays are good for old brains. How old are you, Ellis, if that's not a rude thing for me to ask? Get my sketch and pencil out here and try to redo. Wow. Get him right. 66. Well, you're in great shape for 66-year-old. I'm just 45 and I'm already falling apart. It's quite impressive. All right, now am I drawing Huey too big here? Let's look at some reference here. He's about the same height as the other two. He's farther back, but you're looking at him from the same angle. He's probably a little big. We'll just see what happens. Well, it gets worse. Flyfox Pro says I'm 31 and almost in constant pain. I'm telling you what, at 40 something, 40, 41, early 40s, it just hits you like a rock. It just gets real bad real quick. Let's see. Here's chest. Let's do a fist here. Wow, I cannot draw anything tonight. I thought I was getting better, or at least more efficient, but I am not doing it tonight. And see, like here, my model's all buff and fit, but Pow is not Pow. Wow. Ridiculous names of these guys, but there's a reason for that in the story. Wow is a little chubby. What am I going to do with this arm here? What do you think, guys? I don't know if you can even see him on screen or not. Is the last guy, is he too much bigger than the other two? I'm so dumb, it's hard for me to even tell. Let's put some eyes here, nose, tired mouth because he's wore out. Flyfox Pro, LOL. I'm surprised my vast knowledge of pop culture, history, and other topics. No. The drawing part of the brain is not the word part. It's not your imagination. It's hard to talk and draw. That is true. And of course, somebody like me that doesn't know what they're doing, it's hard for me to do it at all. It's hard to know how to draw a chubby kid without it being too comical. I mean, this isn't a cartoon here, so I don't want to go too far. But I want to show that he is overweight. Should he be reaching out to them? I think him being bigger than them, that would just exacerbate the problem. Maybe I should draw his arm here. Let's put this down here. We'll do it like this. Make this come out longer. Yeah, I'm already running out of steam, I'm afraid. I'm afraid he is comically bigger than the other two now. Yeah, now he just looks gigantic compared to them. probably can't see it, but in this fourth panel, I have a little gag here, which is I probably have to take out, but there's like a little sign here on the alley wall, and it says "Wrong way down a one-way street," and that's a reference to a Lemmy skit he did on his show. I don't know if you know who Lemmy is, but he's walking with a friend, and he sees a sign that says "One-way street," and there's a car driving the wrong way, and he starts singing it like a '80s Bruce Springsteen song. Wrong way down a one-way street, and that's the whole part of the song, and everybody loves it, and he becomes famous over just that one line in one song. That's the whole song. So there's a little gag there that nobody will ever get, so I don't know if I should leave that in or not. Let's see, this is going to have some backgrounds in it. I don't have a ruler here somewhere. I need to be more technical and use a ruler. Every time I have to draw, I have to spend 10 minutes looking for the ruler. Oh, come on. Come on, ruler, where you at? I have no idea. Well, I can use whatever this is. Probably it's probably long enough. You know, everybody has supposedly a right side of their brain and a left side of their brain. And one side's the technical part. And the other side is the creative part, you know. And for you to be good at this, you probably need both sides to work simultaneously. But the one part of my brain that's the technical part and the mathematical part, it's never worked well. So anytime I have to draw panels or do straight lines or do backgrounds that are technical, the brain just doesn't work. Fly Fox Pro started a new webtoon comic because I hate myself and didn't have enough stuff I'm supposed to finish. I'm thinking about putting mine on webtoons too. I'm not sure. I don't like the website much, and I don't like the format of it. It's not for me, you know. It's for younger people that are in. Okay, there. I caught my headset turning off that time. That's going to be a problem with the headset. I could just turn the air conditioner off and use the Yeti. The sound would be much better if I did. But it'd also pick up everything in the house. Hey, Firefox Pro right now, but at some point share with me your webtoon link on Twitter so I can check it out, please. I'm very interested in all that kind of stuff. If you're like an old school Marvel superhero guy like myself, I don't think he'll probably do well on webtoons, but I'm going to try and do it once I feel comfortable enough sharing the webcomic, which is going to be soon. Probably this week, I'm going to create a section on my website for my webcomic. So his hair, but I like it. I don't know. I should probably change it, but that is one of the problems I have, making the characters look uniform. So even though I like how I accidentally drew that hair there, I need to change it. Flyfox Pro. When I say traditional, I mean the format of a traditional comic book. I draw them digitally. Good idea to adapt a strong story and change it up a bit. Ellis Goodson. You know, once I get settled on everything I'm doing, if any of you guys want to make your own website for it, I can hook you up with a FTP on my site. I'm already hosting it. and let you put it there if you want. I mean, it'll look like your own site. You can log in, do everything on your own. If you want to be free of things like webtoons and such. I've got unlimited bandwidth and unlimited FTP, so it wouldn't be no skin off my back. Than they used to be. I made one 20 years ago. It's still up. I give it away to an art dealer named Jim Warden. It's called whatashock.com. But I did all that with HTML, but now you just do it with like WordPress and Elementor, and it's pretty fun actually. My last 8-day break before last, I created all of wowpowbam.com on there, and it would have went even quicker if I'd have had everything but placeholder stuff to do it with. So I had to start creating content, drawings, character profiles, and stuff. But it came around pretty quick. Still working on it. Else good. So tracing paper is good to have around. Do a lot of disposable passes on tracing paper for light sources, etc. Templates. Yeah, I don't know anything about trace paper. I'll have to look into that. Like I said, I have no training, no input, and no sense even. So I've got a lot to learn. And it's hard to know what to prioritize, make a priority. Can't talk and draw, evidently. I promise you I have a conversational IQ over the first grade. Okay, here I'm getting lazy. Let's do this hand right. My wife's in the background talking to the cats. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Wow, Firefox Pro has a whole lot of big ideas going on. Good for him. I'm just an old superhero guy. We're out of fashion now, which doesn't make sense. Why can't I draw? Why can't I draw a hand? I swear I can draw a hand sometimes. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to draw this hand or not. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four, 5. All right, so something ain't adding up. That should just be 3 fingers there because he's got a thumb on the other side. It's hard being me. Got a thumb somewhere over here. Usually on a night off like tonight, I'll sit and draw literally all night, especially after the wife goes to bed. I doubt I'll stream that long because I doubt anybody will want to watch me for 8 hours. And it would take the video probably. The hand's a little better. In this part, Pal, or actually Paul right now, he is pointing out an alleyway they can duck into because they're leaving the chubby kid behind. They're going to hide down an alleyway of Angelo's Pizza, which is a local pizza place where I live. So what am I doing with this arm here when I did the layout? That looks like he's pointing that way, but I should have his hand down here. So that's wrong. I'll have to erase that part of the sleeve. Anyway, as you can see now, when I say I am an amateur learning how to draw, I mean it literally. I am a baby at it. I don't know the first 2 things about it. I have not been exaggerating. And I've been struggling trying to learn all this stuff. Ellis Goodson, George Bernard Shaw is public domain in Canada, but still under copyright in the U.S. I haven't heard his name in a while. I don't hate that, but things are going to get a bit crowded here. Oh, I've got the wrong pencil. I don't know if this learning how to draw stream is going to work out. I think it's going to frustrate a lot of people. You're going to have people that don't know anything about art that's going to come and just say, "Hey, you're horrible." Then you're going to have people that actually know things about art going to be frustrated by how bad I am. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but you don't know till you try. It'll be worth it if it inspires me to draw even more, but it may hinder me. Only time will tell. But I do like to listen to other people's streams like this when I'm drawing. So maybe it'll give some more comment for people to run in the background while they're being creative. But I've got to say, this stream's already been more successful than I thought it'd be. I've got 2 active chatters, 4 people watching, and that's exciting. People are creating as we speak. Good for them. The whole way I'm going to try to sell this whole experience is the learning to draw part of it. And I'm using my website to show my steps the whole way from the beginning to the end. You've got my virtual sketchbook there that shows a good chunk of everything I've done since I've started drawing again. Hopefully there's a little progress there. I don't know. That's debatable. Yeah, I need to remember that his shirt is colored in and just color in the dark spots instead of the whole thing. He's got stars on his lapel there, but I'll probably put them in when I ink. A lot of people suggest that I should go digital. That might be an option for later, but I think you shouldn't do something like that until you know how to draw. I might be wrong in that assumption, but I think I should stay away from that until I have some idea what I'm doing. And then I can move to something like that if I want to. I have most of the tools. I mean, I have Photoshop, I have Illustrator, I've got all the Adobe Cloud stuff. I've got a very small, cheap Wacom tablet that I despise. I'd have to buy a better one of those. A lot of people suggest using an iPad. I know that's popular now, but I do not support that company, so I'd have to get like a Surface Pro or something if I started doing that. And those are expensive. At least my problems I had drawing on the first panel are gone, so at least I've got that going for me now. Pencil's behaving like I expect it to behave. I'll clean a lot of this up when I do the inking, hopefully. But I feel calling it inking is a lie. My version of what I call inking, I mean. So, that arm looks wrong, doesn't it? Yeah, this is going way more awkward than it usually does. It's a very self-conscious thing to come on here and draw when you got just enough sense to know you don't know what you're doing. But everyone has been supportive of it, so I can't complain. I have no idea why I just did that. I give him a little Hitler mustache accidentally. Shh. Don't want to do that. Especially since this character's Jewish. That would be really bad. I feel like I'm just phoning this in. I don't know. Drawing at a different angle than I'm used to have. You've got a nice camera. I think I've got the same one everybody else has got, the Logitech C something 1080p. I was going to buy a 4K for this, but it's hard to find one that's not overpriced right now. And even then, I would have paid more, but you got to wait a long time. So I figured if I'm going to wait for them to ship it forever, I might as well just pay normal prices for it. I want to have a 2-camera setup when I do this. I don't know if that's needed or not, but that's the goal. Oh yeah, he's got acne. I better draw a few sets on here. I got this camera on sale like on a Black Friday or something. Got a good deal for it. Got it for near nothing, and I ended up paying almost as much for the little shutter for it to cut it off. But I think you got to have those in this day and age. You never know who's hacking your computer or what. At least to make you feel better about it. It probably don't matter anyway. Yeah, I'm definitely just phoning all this in. Look how horrible that eye is. Where's that little small eraser? When you're learning how to draw, you can't afford to phone anything in. So mine autofocuses. That's interesting. Does it autofocus on my awesome Bigfoot Bill hat? I need to make sure I wear the hat because I'm starting to lose my hair as I get older. Once the webcam shortage goes away right now, Alice, you can get this camera on Amazon relatively cheap. I highly recommend it. It's pretty good. I'm probably going to buy a second one just like it so I can leave one hooked up on the monitor like it's supposed to be and get the whole room, and then use this one to hook up and stream. What do you guys think about the camera angle? Is it awkward? Can you see everything okay? He would have an ear, Dwayne. Put an ear in. Here's his neckline. I don't know if this is a realistic pose for Jacob to be in, but not a lot of space here to draw. I'm trying to be a little ambitious and put as many characters in a panel I can because it's good practice, but it's hard for me to do because I suck at it. He's got a Pink Floyd shirt on, so we'll write a P. Forgive me if I talk while I do stuff or I'll make a mistake. I'll misspell pink wrong or something stupid. Looks good. It's out of your way. That's the important part. It's kind of in the way, actually, the way I've got it set up. When I did the test stream this morning, it was really annoying. I couldn't draw, so I moved it back a little bit and put it actually farther back. I wasn't sure if that would mess everything up or not, but it sounds like it's doing okay. Again, I keep saying the same stuff, but there's no reason for me to go in and color all this stuff like this guy's shirt and stuff, other than I need the practice. That's one thing when I was, started drawing again. I got into where I was copying covers. I was copying everything from Buscema Thor covers to Infinity Gauntlet covers, and I started doing completely finished. I'd go in and color all the backgrounds in. If it was black with pencil and stuff. And that seems like a waste of time, but it really helped me get better pencil control and learn how to do stuff. And I picked up a lot copying these guys. It never looked that great, but when I went back to the webcomic, which I abandoned because I knew I wasn't good enough yet to even learn anything from it, I found out that I was a little better already. So I learned a lot doing that. Copying is the best teacher. That's true. I had so many stupid thoughts when I was younger, when I was trying to draw, that really held me back. Just stupidity. One of the things was here. This is a ridiculous story. One of the reasons I quit drawing is because I read a story about Adolf Hitler when he was an artist, and they were sort of making fun of him. They said the only thing he knew how to do was copy other people. He had nothing going in his own head. And I thought, that's the way I am. I don't want to be Adolf Hitler. So I quit drawing. And that's an immature thing. Everybody needs to learn to copy. I used to think you weren't supposed to use reference, and that's still clinging in the back of my head. I've tried to buy all these models, and normally if I wasn't streaming, I'd be pulling up stuff on my computer to try to find angles and stuff. I'm going to have to do that soon here when I start drawing all this alleyway stuff. In fact, I'm going to do that now when I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I try to use a little reference. Like when I was drawing, let's see if I can pull it out here. This panel over here. Oh. Again, it's not great, but when I have this picture of him ripping this comic book up, I went in the living room. I had a Thompson cigar magazine, and I ripped it in front of my wife and had her take a couple pictures of it. And that panel turned out pretty good. I've always been able to draw stuff if I could see it. The one thing I could draw good back in the day when I draw was like portraits. I could draw human beings really well if I had a picture of them and everything. I just couldn't come up with the stuff out of my imagination. And if you're wanting to draw comic books, you need to be able to do that to a certain extent. But back in the day, somehow I got it in my head that it was dumb to use reference. I know that's completely and utterly ignorant, but that's what my brain thought. But after I got to seeing real artists do their thing, I realized that they all used reference. In fact, just recently I was watching an interview with Walt Simonson, who's one of my all-time favorite comic book creators, and he was talking about the importance of reference. And I thought, you know what? If it's good enough for Walt Simonson, it should be good enough for me. All right, his jacket may be a little small, but I'm going to allow it. What does his belt look like? I'll worry about that later. I need to figure out what I'm going to put Huey in this, the overweight kid. The logical place is to put him there, but see, you can see in the little thumb, I just sort of had his head right here. I'm just afraid that's going to be overly complicated. I could just leave him out here, but I could draw him over here, but then that means he's catching up. He should be in the background right here. I don't know. Let's set our models up and see what they look like. Could be Huey there. This would be Bam. Oh, this is the awkward part where they fall apart. Now, relying on these models too, if I do that too much, everything's going to look like G.I. Joes, but they're good for far away poses and stuff, starters. All right, so you're here. That's not helping any at all. I'm getting annoyed by them falling over. Let's see. Let's experiment with lightly putting Wow's head here. I can use thin lines to where he's He's in the background. He's got a little chubby neck, hairline, round eyes to try to show that he's a little overweight for his age. Nose is going to be here. He's tired. What does your mouth do when you're tired? I don't know. I'll just put a frown on his face for now. I don't know. I don't even know if that's worth putting in there. I think it just complicates the picture. I don't know what to do. Oh man, why would you draw the ear so big? Struggling tonight. I can foresee that my biggest problem with streaming is going to be reinforcing my bad habits of being lazy and taking shortcuts, because you're streaming, you're going to want to move forward. People see what you're doing. And I might be more likely to accept something I shouldn't accept. All right, that might work out. If I can do real thin lines. I draw really thick lines to overcompensate for my problems. That's another thing I'm going to have to work on, I mean. And as I'm saying that, literally as I'm saying that, I do the exact same thing I shouldn't be doing. I draw him with really thick lines. It's like the only thing I know how to do. Bad habits are really hard to overcome. It takes a lot more. Let's see, if you got a chubby cheek, does it go up or down? I think I'm gonna go down with it. Yeah, that's good. He's got double jaw. A little. Okay, thank you very much for stopping by, Ellis. It's an honor to have you. Such a great artist. I enjoy your books. I look forward to seeing more art from you, like in the comic book style. I seen you was working on that one thing. Thank you very much for showing up. It means a lot. I want to see Ellis do a big crowdfunded book one day. He's got so much talent. You see so many people with so much talent not making the big bucks that some of these people that draw about like I draw. I mean, and I'm not saying I'm good. I'm saying the exact opposite. You see a lot of these people in CG making $40,000 on books, and they cannot draw. It's very disappointing. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm not real happy with them being that close together. A lot of wasted space in this panel. I'm not sure if that makes everything more confusing. I'm just really not sure of myself on a lot of things. And quite frankly, there's a fine line between knowing when to move on and getting better at something. And I have no idea where that line is right now in my career or my skill level. But again, this stream has already turned out way more successful from the audience part than I thought it would. That's very exciting. Do I color that in? I think so. It's a very awkward panel. It looks like Huey's right up on him and he's just standing there. I guess they could have stopped for a second. Let's try to draw a hand here. I don't think I'll ever be able to get over the habit of just drawing like superhero hands, even for young people here that wouldn't be that developed or buff. But, I'm already way farther along than I thought at first I'd be, so I just need to have a little faith that things are going to work out and I'll get better in increments. All right, so he's got his hand here. There's his thumb. Comes down here. What does his knuckles do here? Do they go up? I guess they go up. 1, 2, 3. Should have a finger going there. That's not a horrible hand. It's not a professional hand, but it's pretty good for one of mine. What am I going to do with the backgrounds on this? Should I come back to it? Just do the backgrounds with the pen, because it's going to be mostly bricks, I think. Let's find some reference for an alleyway here on my Surface Pro. And that's the thing that hurt me this morning is I didn't have my Surface Pro in here. I couldn't look at reference like I usually do. My main computer's behind me. I use the same chair to draw and use the computer, so I don't want to have to go buy another chair. It just seems like a waste of money. If I can find an alleyway shot vaguely like what I'm looking at here. Should be something simple with just bricks and stuff. They're all just a different angle than what I'm looking for. Hey, I got a good idea here. I'm going to do something while I'm thinking of it. I should have done this earlier. Well, why can't I do it? I want to make Flyfox Pro a moderator, but for some reason it's not letting me do it. The intention was good. I was going to make you a moderator, but the only option it's given me for some reason is to put you in timeout, which I don't want to do. Maybe you're not in the room anymore. Maybe that's why that's happening. I don't know. I don't know where my little smudge paper is. I usually have paper here I use to keep from smudging. Smudging a little bit. This will work. All right, where was my alleyway at? Let's get back to work. Forgive me if I ignore chat for a little bit because I've got a different window open. Let's see, if this was an alleyway, you'd have might have a drain coming down. That's what this will be. You have a bunch of brick, maybe a window or two. I wonder if I should get rid of this little gag. That I should probably erase that. Nobody's going to get that. It's not worth me just having a little chuckle for myself and everybody else saying, "What are you talking about?" Still got 3 people watching. That's exciting. It's very exciting. I'm getting frustrated for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't erase this little sign that I shouldn't have drew in the first place. Twitter real quick. I'll be right back. I'm going to post the link again. That ain't the link. Where's the link? Oh, come on. Computer, why don't you help me? Help me help you. All right, let's get back to drawing my alleyway. How are we going to draw this brick? What's the easiest way to do it? I mean, brick's not necessarily uniform. It needs to go slightly down a little bit. I need to go find my ruler. I don't like this thing. At least do the rough out for whatever the alleyway is going to look like. Maybe I can do a better job in when I'm inking it. I feel like things are going way slower tonight than usual. Alright, so like when you got bricks, what do they look like? You got mortar on the outside and you sort of got a brick on the inside. I'll zoom in on that. Got kind of like it's pretty much a square, but it's not perfectly square. They should probably get smaller as they go down. I have zero experience drawing backgrounds, and a lot of these are going to just be really awkward, but I have to at least make an effort. You're not going to get better until you do it wrong a lot. There's going to be a lot of that on this stream, a lot of doing things wrong, learning the hard way. That's kind of the story of my life. You know, you can't escape IQ, you're born with it. So some of us have to just do things the hard way the whole time we're alive. I'll try to look at chat again after I get done drawing these bricks. These alleged bricks. It's so weird to be talking while you're drawing. It's not natural. Like anything background, I get real lazy real quick with it. Let's draw a brick here. Draw another brick here. Draw a brick here. See, I drew a bunch of bricks on a panel earlier. I guess these would be similar bricks. It's a small town. They probably build a lot of these buildings the same way. At least that's how my small town is. That's what I'm going. This whole place is sort of named after or modeled after my hometown. You know, I mean, very loosely. Like, it's also very Simpson-y. Like, there's different sections for the town. You're going to have, you know, whatever story option, like, there's a swamp in this town where the battle at the end takes place. There's no real swamp where I live. It's going to have a lot of biomemes and regions, you know, to simulate a lot of different places in the country to make it like an all-American place. But at its core, it's a small town like where I live in western North Carolina. The name of the town is Chesterton in the book. I name it after G.K. Chesterton, one of my favorite writers. A little reference there. So we got a little panel there. That's ready to be inked. It's not perfect, but it's sadly the best panel I've drawn so far. So I'm going to go back to this third panel if I find my pencil. See if I can put some detail here in on Huey. Huey's got kind of like a high crew top. That's not the right word. Crew top. My brain's not working. What am I trying to say? Sort of a military haircut. He's got like a very cheap haircut because he's the poorest of the three boys. He lives alone with his overweight mother. His father left him at a very young age. Sort of like the classic, went out to buy cigarettes and never come back. He's a very humble boy, but he's very poor. And his mother's not a very good or attentive mother. She doesn't pay him much attention. She cares more about watching reality TV shows and eating than she does properly caring for her son. But despite all that, he's got a very good nature, and he finds two good friends that share his love for superheroes and comic books and comic book stores. So his salvation will come through his friends and his interactions through them. He'll overcome his past he grew up with and the problems he has with his mother and turn out to be a very good young man. That's how I envision Huey here. I'm going to have to look into how to draw Chubby Hands, which his hands don't have to be that chubby because he's still young. I think you'd worry about him being more chubby if he was an older guy. But as I envision the character, like if he ever grew up, he would not be chubby. Because a lot of his chubbiness comes from his lifestyle and growing up with his mother. As he matures and becomes his own man, he'll overcome all that. That's how I envision poor Huey. The chat seems dead. Maybe I need to refresh it. Maybe, for all I know, people have been chatting the whole time. It's just not been working. Let's look and see. Nope. Can't complain, though. I've had way more interaction tonight than I deserved or that I thought I would have. Very grateful for that. Very grateful indeed. Starting to get a little more comfortable drawing here. Again, that does not mean it's good. Oh, Fly Fox Pro is still here and he's drawing too. Yeah, don't let me distract you. Part of this is us learning to draw together and hopefully inspiring each other to be creative. That's kind of why I want to do this stream. Maybe a little ambitious, but that is the goal. Starting to get warmed up a little bit and at least feeling less awkward. I'm sure the pencils were just as awkward as they always were. One thing I did notice when I watched my test stream back this morning is everything looked better than it did. I'm not saying it looked good, but it looked better than it felt like it was going when I was drawing. I'm a little worried about these alleyways and these two panels looking too similar. Very messy. A lot more messy talking and drawing than I usually am. Because I'm not paying attention to not smudging, doing that sort of thing. Backgrounds are the bane of my existence. Hello, I get lazy sometimes with them. Well, that just makes you a modern comic book artist, quite frankly, because you see that in major publications. It's getting ridiculous. That's why I'm trying. As pitiful as mine look, that's why I'm trying to do it because I know that's something I want to be better than, not in like a bragging way, but just like I want to learn from these people's mistakes. Let's see, does his just do it thing have an exclamation mark? Let's see, let's pull it up on my website. Let's do that. Look at my character profiles. Wow, pow, and bam. Well, you know what? I should do that on stream. I can do that on stream. That would be a good habit to do. See, like, no, add to stream. Do this, and then just go do it on the website. What am I looking at? I want to go to Sketchbook. Why's my website not looking? Oh, there it is. Where's that page where they're looking at? Oh, here we go. That's the first time I drew his shirt. Yes, it has an exclamation mark. Victory. All right. I don't know if you could see. I think you could probably see me going through the website there. Has an exclamation mark. That's how bad my memory is. That's one thing that's hurt me the worst as I get old. Is I like my memory has gotten really bad. I had an accident at work where I fractured 2 vertebrae in my neck about 10 years ago. And I got paranoid that maybe that's why my memory was getting bad. I was talking to my dad about it, and he said, "No, your memory's always been bad." And I was like, "Well, I couldn't remember." But hopefully that's just the way I am. Feels worse, though. And a lot of it's got to do with just getting older, too, I guess. All right, what am I doing? I need to draw backgrounds on this panel here. Let's go back to this reference. Got a much wider section here. I can draw a window or something. Why is my pencil lead out so far? Curve it at the top. Curved window comes down. It's crooked. We can fix that when we ink it, I guess. But a lot of doing backgrounds is something I need to work on that I know nothing about, like perspective. That's hard to me. That's almost just like math. Math has always never been easy for me. I was good at philosophy and history and lots of things, but I was never good at math. Put 2 panes here just to make it easier. It'll have bricks around it. Maybe I'll put more of a frame around it. Some weird old school building. This may look weird to you, but this is how the buildings around where I live actually look. They're all all brick. Let's see, if in this panel they're coming up on this stuff, that would be later on in this panel. I don't know what that line's supposed to be. Just make all this black, I guess. Make this like a little kind of ledge piece. We'll give it a little shadow here just to make it look 3-dimensional. And I guess we'll draw some more bricks again. Let's pull up chat. We're drawing bricks. Flyfox Pro, I can basically only see your hat right now. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Let's see, is that better? I've actually got 2 streams going at the same time. I don't know how smart that is. That's the kind of stuff I'm going to have to get used to if I'm going to do this a lot. But if I'm doing something technical, I may just need to not worry about it. It's hard for me to tell because I've got a stream, delay. There's probably a 5 or 6 second stream delay, and I can't just look up in real time everything. Oh, there may be a way I can actually set that up to do. Now that I think about it, if I can run the webcam on two applications at the same time, I can put it on my Logitech program, and maybe I can see myself in real time. I should probably click play here and pause it over here. Oh, that's the Streamlabs program, so that's not hurting me at all. That's going to happen anyway. All right, let's see. Let's try to show a little close-up update, see if we know how to do that. We got some. That's enough to ink. First panel, they're running. Huey's in the back. He's tired. Jacob looks over his shoulder, sees the bullies getting closer. Paul passes the two of them. He takes charge here. He knows that Huey can't keep up, so he suggests they go down an alleyway. That's where we are so far. We're going to draw some bricks in this third panel, and then these first four panels will be ready to be inked later, and then we'll move on. Things are going to get more complicated later. I have no idea how I'm going to draw this panel where they go into the alleyway. This will be an easy panel to draw, just a close-up of the bad guys chasing them. I'll have to find some reference for them standing at the door. And this is going to be the best panel of the page if I draw it correctly. You got the bad guys coming down the hallway and the three heroes scared right there. And then after this page, the exciting stuff, the comic ebook stuff starts. So that's exciting. If you don't mind, let me know how that close-up thing showed. I don't know if the autofocus worked on that or not. I have no idea how any of this is working. I don't know if I can draw these bricks without getting in the way. Would that have a brick behind that? No, not really. I am sorry if I get in the way a little too much of the drawing, but let's be honest, there's nothing much to see here anyway. I think the stream will go a lot better when I can get people just to come into the stream live chat, the talking with me on stream itself. Maybe even sharing what they're doing, what they're drawing, what they're interested in, what they're coloring. I may start live streaming when I'm doing lettering and coloring as well. That'll be a lot easier because I can just stream the desktop. These bricks are a little big, but we got a life. We can't draw bricks all day, can we? I'm going to call that ground. So there's some real light perspective in this. Nothing good. We'll color that in. We'll make the final panels in Photoshop. I use the rectangle tool to make the panels because I have a really hard time drawing straight with a ruler. That's something that's not coming easier at any point so far. So that'll be a foot. Leg goes down. Wow, that stream delay is ridiculous. Oh, it's because it's not live. That's not helping me at all. That's from a long time ago. Oh, so many ins and outs here. It was blown out by the light. Yeah. Oh well. Live and learn. Thanks for the input. All right, we're going to have to find some reference for an alleyway. The hall. I don't know what to even search for, to be honest with you. Let's see. Computer's been problematic. So this would be like an alleyway in an alleyway. So I guess now that I think about it, these boys in these two panels actually weren't running down an alleyway. They're still running down a street. That's fine because these backgrounds still work for that. This is where they duck down the alleyway. Now, the panel's got to show Huey falling behind and them running in the alleyway. Then the bad guys see Huey, but they don't see the other two. But how do I represent this? I want to see them going down the alleyway, so you have to have the door. This will sort of be the floor. The door would obviously come from the floor. I want it to be small enough to where you can see that it's a door in the panel. I want to have the word duck there because I like to do sound effects on pages, and there's not a lot of room for sound effects on this page. Not a lot of action. So let's erase that for now. We can put that in later. I have to try to figure out the perspective on this to do it right. I have no idea. So Huey's going to be here. I'll have the sign for Angelo's here. It'll be like a pizza graphic. That's all fine. But how do we draw? Just look up a doorway. Maybe that'll help. I'm bad. Oh, yeah. That's the first thing that shows up is useful. It's actually some kind of like Christian religious like thing, but it's the perspective I want. I just wish there were people running through it. That would have been very helpful. Don't have to draw the doors on it though, because this is not a door actually. So we got this. This is going to go up through here. This will be some kind of brick motif, just like the rest of it. Probably have some kind of like shadowing like that. Now somehow I have to draw two human beings that don't look ridiculous going into that. So we're going to have to go to our models to do that. Now this is going to be fun. Let's see, this would be Bam walking into the alleyway. I don't want it to be the exact same pose I did earlier. I want to show a little variety. Then in front of him will be Paul. I want him standing up so you can clearly see it's two different people. Get you out of the way. All right, yeah, you're looking behind yourself a little bit. You're falling over. You're never helpful to me. I need to find a way to screw that in. All right, so let's sketch these. This will be Paul. We'll do a little light sketch of Paul first. Wrong way, down a one-way street. If you've never seen that Limby video, I highly recommend it. His stuff, he's a little crazy as a real-life individual, but he is very talented at coming up with sketch comedy. All right, I feel he's too big for this alleyway. I'm going to have to make him smaller. Let's try it again. The bad thing is, I want to erase stuff, when I realize I'm doing it wrong to do it right the next time. But the sad thing is I end up usually doing the same mistake again. So it almost feels like it was a waste of time. It almost feels like I'm destined to screw it up the exact same way that I just screwed it up. I need to remember these are boys. They're not superheroes. I don't have to have them be ridiculously buff. This will be... Bam. I'll have to leave room for his ridiculous hair. Go ahead and put some placeholder hair in. Ain't got a lot of room for a lot of detail, so just have to do something different with his arm here. Let's see. Fox Pro. As you draw, they will get ironed out. Yes, that is true, but I at least want to be aware of them, I think. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't sit and worry about your mistakes at all, like I said, there's a fine line between moving forward and not paying them any attention. I'm not exactly sure where that line is yet. But you're right. Yeah, you can't just sit and obsess over things. If I sit on to draw ever, I will literally never draw anything my entire life. That is a fact. Okay, that doesn't look right at all. Sometimes I put blinders on when I'm drawing and don't look at the rest of the picture while I'm drawing it. Is this going to work out? I don't know till I do it. Believe it or not, I'm drawing something wrong. Screwing it up in real time. Doing the best I can. Is that some kind of perspective? I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. Fly Fox Pro. Yeah, get aware of them and then do a bunch of practice on those particular issues. Yes, that is good advice. I believe that is superb advice. So the way this is turning out, yeah, the mic turned off again for a second. But the way this is turning out, I originally envisioned this panel where these guys only saw Huey going into the alleyway, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, for the story. I have to erase that part of the door just so I can see what I'm doing. How are you on perspective, Fly Fox Pro? Do you think you've got any kind of handle on that at all, unlike me? I mean, at this point, I just know the word pretty much. I know the word perspective. I can say the word and act like I know what it means, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I've watched some videos on it. I drew a couple of perspective things. It's hard for me to take in. That doesn't look horrible, I don't think. After I get the web comic drawn, I'm going to do a lot of perspective work. I don't know how much of this I've shared, but I'm kind of doing this as a script, like a visual script. I actually have an artist set up for this fall to most likely draw, a good artist, an actual real artist, to draw this web comic for me. And I'm drawing out the origin part as a visual script, and hopefully he'll draw it right. I'm not ready to announce who that is yet because he may change his mind. It's not concrete yet, but I've agreed on a price. I've set the money aside, so hopefully it'll work out. I just realized I don't know what a pizza looks like. Gonna have to erase that. Right now I'm limiting the perspective in these panels to the most basic things so far. Like the most ambitious panel I had for perspective was here on page 9, where the kids are running away. You know, it's kind of a 1 point perspective. You know, you got the lines coming down, you got the street, generic street. The car is out of perspective, but I'm still proud of it because I put it there. It should be facing this way a little bit more. But for the first time I've ever drew a car, especially in perspective, it's not horrible. And I rushed everything. I didn't put a lot of work. And me trying to do something different, I messed Paul's face up. But it's still a cool panel because it showed what I was trying to show. You know, he turns around, he looks, and they're running away. So, you know, I'm doing some real mild backgrounds, real mild perspective, just to learn. I'm going to look up what a pizza looks like. I know that sounds stupid, but I'm going to do it. All right, let's erase that whole thing. Let's erase the whole pizza. Erase the whole pizza. Firefox Pro. I hope to get enough money together to pay Ellis's friend Scott to draw a comic for me. Yeah, Scott does some pretty good panel work. I like his stuff. And I tell you, Scott can draw cars as good as anybody. I love his cars, man. I follow him on Instagram, and he'll put up a page he's drawn of that comic book. I think it's called Heaven's Rejects, and it just looks great. Looks great. You know what? I have these circle templates. I should draw a pizza with one of them. What did I do with them? Crap, it's not opened. This is another bad habit I have. I do everything quickly and lazily when I should use tools to do them. When I was younger, I would have thought that was cheating because I was retarded. Trying to break that habit. A lifetime of habits is hard to break. We'll use that to draw the pizza. Let's erase it again. Hope I'm not showing my head again. Well, I tell you, that light's bright, isn't it? Let's cut this light off. See if that helps. Oh, that seemed to help a lot. Let me know if you think that's better when you get a chance. All right, there's a circle. Draw an actual decent circle, maybe. I have literally never used these templates for anything in my life. I don't know how much money I put on, but see, they've already paid for themselves. All right, let's go back. Where was my pizza I was looking at? Somehow I popped that out. That may be better, though. Now, I don't have to look. This is like a pizza sign. My original envision of it, it had a sort of piece cut out. But before I do that, I'm going to draw what it would... Again, I should use a ruler to do that part. I don't know if it has to have a piece cut out or not, just because I thought that when I first drew it or come up with it. I'm not married to it. I don't have to do it. It may look more like a pizza. Now, I don't have to use the circles to draw pepperoni. Pepperonis aren't perfectly circle. They can be weird shape. Might look more organic if I do. Put like some little... My own shadow's in the way now. I don't know. I know you follow Ellison Scott a lot. Do you know the details behind that comic book Scott's working on? I think it's called Heaven's Rejects. What it's going to be for? Is it like going to be a crowd fund? Is it going to be something published? I would like to check it out. Do you know when it comes out? Anything like that? Man, I can't see now. As you get older and your eyesight starts to need more light. Give this pizza a little bit of a shadow. Try to make it a little 3D. Do I have templates for square rectangles? I'm sure I do. Oh yeah, next one. What'd I do with my knife? Threw it in the floor. It's the little things that you take step forwards with right now, like me actually taking the time to try to make something look slightly more professional, relatively speaking, is a good step. If I can get it out of the plastic. You can't see what I just did there, but I just threw a bunch of plastic on the floor. This will be the sign. This is the delivery entrance to the pizza joint of the town called Angelo's. I can find a smaller eraser here. I believe it's going to be published, but I'm not sure of the exact details. I will certainly give it a shot if it's not something I have to go into a comic book store to buy. I don't care much to get out much anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would probably make an exception. Those are all too small. Maybe we'll use this one here. Yeah, that's going to be perfect, I think. Where's my good pencil? One thing's for sure, the Heaven's Reject comic book is going to have some of the best cars you'll see drawn in it. I don't know if I've even ever tried to draw a car other than the one I just showed on stream earlier, and that's a very generic, weird-looking car that I drew. So now I'm going to write Angelo's on this, and how do I do that professionally? I could just add it in Illustrator, but I think that would look fake. I don't know. I'll add a little shadow of the sign while I'm thinking about it. Again, all this may not look like much, but you compare this to just a couple of months ago, I could not have even come close to drawing a scene out of my head like this, So it's all a step in the right direction. His wizard dude he drew recently is great, very classic D&D looking. Yeah, I think I've seen that on Instagram. He's one of the few people I actually follow on Instagram, so I have the pleasure of almost always seeing anything he posts. I sort of do the same thing on Twitter. I don't follow a lot of people unless I'm really interested in them. I think it really cultivates your experience. You don't have a bunch of crap you don't care about on your timeline. It's the same way with what little I do on Instagram. I follow 2 or 3 people. I follow him, Mike Mignola, Doug TeNaple, Mike Lynch, just a handful of people, and it's pretty cool. Every time I open up, there's 4 or 5 things that I actually care to see, and Scott's stuff's actually on there. All right, let's try to just hand draw Angelo's. A N G E. The E's wrong. L O Angelo's. That's good enough. This panel is going to turn out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I can done tell that right now. I've been muting a bunch of people on Twitter, LOL. Yeah, there's a lot of good reason to mute people on Twitter. A lot of people have nobody's best interests in mind. They just want to fight, especially when it comes to Twitter comics. People that I genuinely like on Twitter all they do is cause trouble sometimes. It gets old for me personally. Um, Tell me again, if you don't mind. I'm going to turn this light back on again. If it makes a big difference, I can watch for myself in real time. Right when you first turn it on, it's definitely it's horrible. I can't draw this light on, or maybe I can draw with it moved away. See, maybe that'll work. Let's try this. Yeah, nothing. I'll just cut it off. I'll get used to drawing in the dark. Maybe I can put some better lighting in up in the ceiling if this becomes a problem. So, Fly Fox, we know that you've got a webtoon. We know you're making a Spaceman comic. What's his name again? Uh, all I remember is I remember that the aliens looked very Rick and Morty to me. Um, I saw the first 2 pages, I believe, definitely the first page. And forgive me if I'm confusing with somebody else because I'm old and my brain doesn't work. Yeah, Steven Starlight. Yeah, that's a good name. I like that. Very old school, cartoony name. I like it. It's catchy. One thing I'll give Comics Twitter credit for, I think a lot of the drama has sort of backed off a little bit. Why is his arm so big? What are we going to do about his arm looking horrible? A lot of people have backed off a bit. You see a little bit of it coming back with this whole dynamite thing, and that's to be expected. And you would think the dynamite thing would bring people together a little bit, maybe at least to fight less. But I bet you, cash money, it won't. I mean, personally, I could care less about the dynamite thing. I don't read any of the people whose covers are being controversial about. But I don't want anybody to be deplatformed. Put the crap out there. If somebody wants to buy crappy Vampirella comics, that's up to them. Steven Starlight. It's a concept I came up with a few years ago. I plan to do a sort of audio drama in the vein of classic radio programs. That's a good idea, actually. I don't know if you've seen. There's a webtoon comic called CKO something. Gosh, I can't remember. I think they actually made a printed comic book of it too, and they do some audio things in that may be kind of like what you're talking about. You might want to check that out if you haven't seen it. Might be right up your alleyway. At first, when I started reading that webcomic, they got on my nerves, the sounds, but then I got used to them and it sort of become a little enduring. I guess I could look that up, take a real quick break, and go see if I can find it again. Let's see, how do I switch to that? Switch to this. Let's see, what have I got? Webtoons. What have I got that under? Webtoons. Sorry about that. I accidentally ended the stream. Probably screwed everything up now. Camera's turned sideways. Not sure if you can hear me or not. Are you still here, Fly Fox? I think I messed that up. I was trying to show you that webcomic, and I changed the web page in where I was streaming. Probably messed my whole stream up. Oh well, anyway, it's called Cyko, C-Y-K-O. That's what I was telling you about. Let's do this properly this time. Let's not do it in the proper window. Click this. Then I go here. I go to Webtoons. Try to remember how to search. C-Y-K-O. Yeah, that's the one I was telling you about. It's not working, is it? What the hell's going on? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I have to do new share screen. Anyway, just go to Webtoons and look up CYKO. I don't have to fix all my tabs up again. That's very annoying. Oh well. Can you hear me okay? I need to get back to drawing here. Gary Shipman is inking my pencils right now on his streams, making me look a whole lot better. Wow, that's quite a compliment. I'll need to start looking up his streams. I don't think I watch any of his streams. I backed his book after he appeared on Drawn and Quartered, and I think they did a version of that where Titan versus or with Bigfoot Bill. I actually participated in the fan edition of that and drew a Bigfoot Bill Titan piece. That was not long after I first started drawing. But I tell you what, that book, Titan, looks like it's going to have just some of the most gorgeous art you've ever seen. Really, really does. I'm sure I would. I know enough about him. I would have backed his book probably if he was not drama free. I mean, I do back a few books. They're history drama, but even they're cutting it back a little bit. People I like because of their religious or political beliefs, and I want to believe in them. I think they're doing a little bit better holding back on the drama. Oh, wait a minute. He's carrying a comic book. In this panel, he's carrying it in his left hand. So I need to draw. He's actually carrying a bag full of comic books, I should say. Need to look for a little continuity here. It's not the best bag in the world, but at least I remembered to draw it. Yeah, if I can remember after the stream, I will look up and subscribe to him if I don't, because I'd like to pay more attention to him since I'm supporting his comic book, and I'll probably review it for the blog. I don't know if you're aware or not, but I have a blog that does a lot of things, especially comic books, at generalgrudge.com. It's actually 100 times more successful than anything else I do, oddly enough. You wouldn't think so, but surprisingly influential in our small community, if I can say so myself. And I will certainly review Titan when it comes out. Let's see, what am I going to do with his other arm? Can't really show it much. I read a review the other day, the Allegiance Comics, I think. Maybe the Red Rooster 2 review. I've got an Allegiance Comics review, and I've got two Red Rooster Part 1 and 2 reviews on there. All those done surprisingly well. Red Rooster's been a big disappointment for me for a lot of reasons. I thought the first book was beautiful, even though it was ridiculously late. And then he did the most example, yeah, he did the biggest example of phoning it in for Red Rooster 2 that I've ever seen in any comic book in my life. It couldn't have been worse if it was a web comic. It's very disappointing. Very disappointing in Mitch. He's got a whole lot of talent, and he's just letting it go to waste. I would kill to have his natural talent. Wow, look at that horrible finger. I should be ashamed of myself. It's like a goofy finger. Did you back any Red Rooster books? I'm about blind. I'm having a hard time seeing what I'm doing. Yeah, unfortunately, I found the Red Rooster campaign right at the end of it. Especially early on, I was very cautious about what I backed, knowing human nature and knowing how comic book artists are, even professional ones, But I backed that one for emotional reasons. And I mean, a long time ago. And it'll be worth seeing. As disappointing as it is, it'll just be an event worth seeing if it ever comes out at this point. He raised a whole lot of money off a whole lot of goodwill, and then made a lot of people angry. Do you watch? Mine's going blank. I watch his streams nearly every night. The Comic Book Hut. Do you watch his drawing streams or some of his rant crap? I mean, stuff. I don't mean that bad. I just don't like the rant stuff. But he is an incredible artist. But anyway, the other night on a stream, he actually did like a video on my Red Rooster review. That was a very pleasant surprise. I was just sitting there at work, looking at YouTube, killing time. Popped open a Comic Book Hut video, and he's doing something on my story. That was neat. I mean, I say I don't like his drama, but I do like that he is a consumer advocate, I should point out. And I think in this messed up crowdfunding scene, we need all the consumer advocates we can get. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I watch his drawing streams. When he first started being shared a lot and I didn't know how to take him at all. I thought maybe he was a little bit crazy or something, but I think he's just playing a character, trying to get views. And I think he genuinely means well. I mean, he's got a agenda where he's trying to help consumers, and I appreciate that. I think you can do it a little less sensationally, but that's just my opinion. Whatever he's doing what makes him happy. But he is an extremely talented artist. I mean, like, he blows me away how good he is already. And I want to encourage him to do more of that because I think that's very helpful to the community. What was the deal with the Lone Star review? I saw the video but didn't watch the video. Well, I did a review on Lone Star 2. and I was very disappointed with it because I loved the first Lone Star. It was one of my favorite crowdfunded comic books for reasons that I explained in the review. And Lone Star 2 took a lot of that and just sort of threw it away. Not to mention, it was also extremely late. It was, except for Red Rooster, it was maybe the latest book I backed, and I was just a little disappointed in the whole situation. Even though I like Mike Miller a lot for a lot of personal reasons, he's got a lot of stuff to respect. I think he needed to get his crowdfunding game together, and that's what it was about. Now, the Hut took that review. He's a much bigger critic of Mike than I am. He doesn't seem to like Mike, and he was a little harsh on Mike, a lot harsher on Mike than my review was. Do I plan on backing number 3? I probably will. I backed MAGA 7, even though I had reservations about that. But I genuinely like Mike, and I think he's taking steps in the right direction. Uh, whatever you think about MAGA 7, I don't know why I called it MAGA 3, because probably I'm thinking of Lone Star 3. He at least has a finished book now. The book's finished. It's pretty much ready to go. So he's going to, he's making the right steps for it. I think he needs to do the whole Tim Lim route and have the book completely finished and either printed or fixing to just go to the printers already, maybe even in the process. I think that would be good for Mike. I think he lost, whether he realizes it or not, he lost a lot of backers over Lone Star 2 being late. Not just, his little argument with old school Comicsgate, but he lost a lot of people just because I think they thought that even though he left Comicsgate, he was still doing a lot of the practices that Comicsgate is infamous for. And that was the best line in my review, and the Hut sort of messed it up. I don't think he understood it. I had a review that you can take the Christian out of Comicsgate, but you can't take the Comicsgate out of the Christian. And when the Hut read that on the review on his video, he said, "I don't think it's got anything to do with Christianity," but it was more of a pun to say he's still doing a lot of the practices that Comicsgate was infamous for. But I think he is definitely taking a step in the right direction. I backed MAGA 7. I got the physical and the digital version of that. I'm going to do a blog post on that tomorrow or so. Mike cut out again. But I would probably back a Lone Star 3. I think Mike's doing a lot of things better than he used to be. Mike used to be one of the worst ones at the drama, if for no other reason, as I've said in other reviews, he just wasn't good at it. And I think it hurt him. And I was critical of that, not to be mean to Mike, but because I want to see Mike succeed. Now, if my opinion's important or not, I can't tell you that. I don't know if Mike cares enough to listen to my opinion, and I couldn't blame him if he didn't. But I genuinely hope that he does really well and provides for his family well, because he's a great father and I think he's an amazing artist. And I think he's a good human being. So I will probably back Lone Star 3, even though I don't like the. Oh, is that an arm? No, that's not an arm. Even though I don't like the direction 2 took the story. Are you a Lone Star fan? Are you a big Mike Miller fan? Fly Fox, this would be a whole lot easier to do if you wanted to let me send you a link to the stream on Twitter, and you can talk in real time as you draw. You don't have to, but it's an option. You may have a baby asleep or something, though, which I fully understand. I may regret drawing this so dark. Is my mic working? Yes. Okay, I should have done this earlier where I can look at the stream on the surface. Hopefully that hat mistake won't happen again if I can remember to look at it in increments. Yeah, that's fine, Fly Fox. I'm just glad you're here, even if you ain't got time to chat. Thank you for showing up. You've been very helpful to me today. You feel a whole lot less stupid talking to somebody in the chat than you do just talking to nobody in the room, like it was earlier this morning. We've got another silent viewer in here today. I don't know who that is, but you're welcome. You don't have to participate, but thank you for showing up. I'm sorry that the content's not very good, but that's sort of the point of the stream, learning how to draw. Should this whole alleyway be colored in dark? That's another thing. I mean, like, I know I keep saying this because there's everything I need to work on, but that's another thing I need to work on is understanding shadows and lighting. That's so important to doing a 3D. I mean, a drawing, making it look 3D. Hey, anytime you want to, Fly Fox, if I'm streaming, all you got to do is just say it, and you're welcome. Anytime. Let's go back to my alleyway reference here. Wish I hadn't accidentally opened up a whole new tab for the stream. That's messed everything up. Made it because I'm using the touch controls on this stupid Surface. Do I want to make this door that complicated? I don't know. It's a learning stream. I might as well. The good thing is, if I ruin it, it's just a web comic. Nobody's going to care. No one will probably hardly read it anyway. I like Mike. The jury's out on me whether I'll love his work, though. I have a hard time connecting with it, like I have Doug or Gary's work. Yeah, that's a very reasonable stance. Mike's sort of a talented artist that, in my opinion, has a hard time creating original characters. That's a very important thing to do if you're going to crowdfund. You need to do everything. You can't just be a good artist, like say at Marvel or DC, and just use their store of characters and their writers and everything, and them do all the business decisions for you. You've got to be able to do it all. And people like Doug have proved throughout his entire career, pretty much every character he creates is a solid property. And if you've probably not read my blog enough or watched my old review videos, but that's one of the things I pointed out when I did my Bigfoot Bill YouTube review, is that there's so many in crowdfunded comic books that don't know how to create characters. And Doug, that's his, he brings properties with him, not just Earthworm Jim, that's his most famous one. But, Bigfoot Bill is a solid property, and it was told well. I don't know if you read Bill, obviously did if you're Doug Tennant, but in the first Bigfoot Bill, it's so well done. He sort of tells his origin and opens it up in about 3 or 4 pages, creates a whole world, does a really good job, gets on the comic book and does the action. And he's a good writer and a good artist. He's the whole package, and he can create characters. And he's shown a really talent for the business too. He's a leader in the business. Earthworm Jim, that crowdfund, completely professional done. Give the backers more than they paid for. Excuse me. Just very talented. I think I may have messed this up here. Excuse me. I don't know. We'll fix that in inking. I may color all this in black here. Excuse me. And I'm not saying that Mike needs a writer. You see a lot of that coming from people in the community that I think just want him to draw their comic book. They're trying to use him, and if you're a talented artist in the crowdfunding, you can pretty much write your own paycheck, because all these writers, and I'm sort of a writer, at least I think of myself as one. You're expendable compared to the artist. I mean, that's just the reality of the medium. And I won't mention any names, but there's some people that always rant on Mike Miller, and the only reason they do it and make fun of him is because he doesn't draw their comic books for them. And I think that's disingenuous. I think Mike can create his own properties. I mean, Lone Star, the first Lone Star was a genuinely good comic book. It was everything just about I wanted in my mind from crowdfunded comic books. That's why I was so disappointed in Lone Star too. It just wasn't that it wasn't what I liked, but it was just the exact opposite of what he had done in the first book from my point of view. And I was very disappointed with it. The first book, I'm a big Captain America fan, and one of the reasons I quit buying monthly comic books years ago was all this hero deconstruction stuff, and they take other people's characters and they make them villains, and they make, they blur the lines of right and wrong. And just personally, that's not something I was in. And so when you had these crowdfunded comic books come up, it was a movement. And it should have been a movement back to doing things like, making actual heroes again, making stuff that's not identity politics and stuff, making something that's patriotic for a change. The big two are incapable of doing that. They can't make a Captain America comic book anymore. And that's what Lone Star 1 was. And in Lone Star 1, he set this guy up who was being a hero in more than just, saving people's lives. He was putting other people's happiness and security above his own happiness, At least that's how I read that book. And then from my point of view, all of that was thrown away in the second book, and I was very disappointed. But mostly what I was disappointed in was just how ridiculously it was one of the latest books I backed. And if I'm going to rally or pitch a fit on all these comic books gate guys that release crap like I did Cyberfrog, it was ridiculously late, and I called people out on that, in my blog and my review and stuff like that. And if I'm going to do that against people that I don't care much for, if I'm going to have any kind of honor or respect, even somebody that I genuinely have affection for, like Mike Miller, I need to call it out. And to Mike's credit, and this is one reason why I backed MAGA 7 and we'll keep backing him, is he's the only person that actually responded to that review, and he was respectful about it. He wasn't a jerk or nothing. He just said criticism understood or something, and thank you for the review. And I thought, that meant a lot to me because he wasn't a jerk about it. A lot of people would just say, you suck, or you can't draw, or you don't know what you're talking about. But he at least was kind enough to say, hey, I'm listening to the criticism. I'm going to do better. And I think you can see a lot of stuff he has done better since. So that's one thing in the Huts video about my review I thought he was too harsh on. I don't think he gives Mike credit for things he's doing better. And I think he's doing a lot better. The one thing Mike has changed that I don't like for the better is, and I'm sure that's just got to do with the elections going on and stuff, is there's less Edwin Boyette. I don't know what it is about Edwin Boyette, but I really enjoy watching him on the streams. I think he's a good compliment to Mike. I hope it's just Edwin, focusing on politics in Hawaii or wherever he lives, and he don't have time to participate in streams. I hope it's just not something he's not going to do anymore, because he added a whole lot to Mike's streams, in my opinion. That's not a dig at Mike at all. I just mean there's something about Boyette that I enjoy. I like a lot. I liked it when he talked about comics on Twitter. I liked it when he pushed certain books. There's a lot of books I back just because he recommended them, try to help people out. Like, I can't even remember the name of the book. Do I have it laying around here somewhere? I backed Titan Mouse. What's his name? Mouse of Might or something. I didn't know who Gary Shipman was, but I backed that because Edwin Boyette. Mike said Edwin is too busy with the political stuff. Yeah, that's what I figured. Hopefully that's all that is, and he'll be back because he's a very likable individual when he's not worrying about the drama too much. And I know he just does that because Mike's his friend. I was afraid maybe they stopped streaming together because of that stupid criticism a bunch of those idiot Comicsgate people said because they was acting like they were gay or Edwin had no life or whatever. And a lot of these people in that movement can't understand that some people just are friends with each other and they support their friends. So I'm glad to hear that's not why that was because I want to see more of it. It makes sense. He's got a life outside of recommending comic books to me, but hopefully he'll be back. Which I just realized if people come on here and ask questions like this, it'll be very helpful. I can get out of having to do the blog all the time to talk about this stuff. Because I like doing the blog, but now that I'm trying to learn how to draw and Photoshop and create websites and stuff, it's hard to have the time to do it. All right, now we have to draw another finger, another hand. God help us. We do have like a community that just goes to extremes all the time. They think just because you say something maybe a little less than just full praise for something like Lone Star 2 that you're just a troll and you don't like people. And that's certainly not true with me. My review about Lone Star 2 wasn't because I didn't like Mike. It was because, right or wrong, because it's just my opinion. I want to see Mike succeed. I genuinely do. I want to see him prosper. Good people should prosper. And I hope Mike doesn't listen to people about not doing his religious streams as much. I know he separated the channels. I think that was a slight mistake because I would have probably never cared enough about him to back him much if it wasn't for the religious stuff. I wouldn't have paid attention to who he was because I didn't know who he was originally. Not because he wasn't worth knowing, just because I hadn't read comic books in 18 years or something. So his religious videos, his religious stance and tweets, that's what made me find him enduring and made me originally start buying his books. And then after I started doing that, I saw, this guy's a very talented artist, especially when you watch him draw live. It's very inspiring. That's one of the reasons I'm wanting to learn how to draw. I watched Mike draw. I watched Doug draw. Now I'm watching the Hut draw. It's very inspiring. And there's been people, that's been watching me start drawing again, after 20 years. And it's not that they think I'm good or anything, but, just seeing that the passion I've got for it and the work I'm putting into it, they've actually started drawing again. And they've told me about that. So if that's true, that's cool. I like that. I like to see more helpful people in this community try to help each other, like Dee Dee does, people like me and Hut trying to learn how to stream. There's a lot of good people like Doug does. He helps a lot of people. I genuinely respect what he's doing just out of the passion of it. I'd like to try to start doing stuff like that, have a little passion. Anyway, this stream's going really well. I don't know how long it's been going. I don't know if me canceling that last stream out started it from scratch. I hope not, though. Such a stupid mistake. I have to work on this panel. I've got the same problem in panel 6 that I had in panel 4. I want to show all 3 characters, but I don't want to do it awkwardly. I'll probably move this guy over here. Makes sense because in all the old panels, he's on the left side anyway. So we'll go ahead and draw Johnny here. Very generic version of Johnny. We'll worry about Tool Guy later. I don't even think I've given him a name. Originally, he was a annoying old CG character, or not character, personality that I've always found low IQ and annoying. And I drew his likeness when I first drew this page there, and I thought, you know what, that's too divisive, not decisive. I don't want to do that, you know. I went as far as calling them war campaign, but I didn't keep his likeness up. I just went over and gave him a generic mullet and goatee. I'll let the world speculate who that idiot is without making a big deal out of it. Anyway, we've been streaming a long time. If somebody watches this later and wonders what's going on, my name's General Grudge, also known as Dwayne Ferguson, and I am trying to learn how to draw again after I quit drawing 20 years ago. I've been drawing, I don't know, 3 months or so. I can't really remember now, at least since March. And I'm having a good time, and I'm doing this stream not because I know how to draw, but for the exact opposite reason. I'm learning how to draw. I call them learning how to draw streams. If you watch this later and you want to drop by and give advice and give constructive criticism, not be a jerk about it, but say, hey, you'll find this helpful. I would love to hear it, because that's one of the things I'm trying to do better. I want to try to listen to people that are trying to give me good advice. Let's see, we'll just put X's on that. We can ink that later. I'm definitely getting in the mood to draw now a little bit. Things were extremely awkward at the beginning. When you're a newbie like I am, untrained and have no idea what you're doing, it's even harder to draw when you're not doing things like you normally are. So hopefully I'll get used to drawing and talking, and I won't have to warm up as hard as I did today. I've had a lot of people here to help me tonight, though. Fly Fox Pro's been here almost all night. He's been very helpful. Ellis was here earlier. He's always very helpful. Gives some good advice. So if anybody comes by later and you want to help out, or you want to join in, you want to learn with me, or you want to teach me or anybody watching, you're very welcome to. I want to learn. And it can be very frustrating, I think, if you're a real artist and you come here and you see the trash I'm doing. You know, all I ask to say is remember that you were probably trash too at one point. You might have been a child then, not 45-year-old like I am, but in a way it's harder to learn the older you get. I can promise you that. Now, hopefully we'll ink all this tonight. If we do it on stream or not, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's any drawbacks to just doing ridiculously long streams like I usually play games. This is the first time I've used StreamYard longer than maybe 15 minutes, and I've only used it 2 or 3 times ever. So I don't know if there's any drawbacks to doing this or not. But again, we'll find out the hard way. All right, let's draw Tool Guy here a little bit. Maybe even just the side of his head. Goatee. He's got a neck, comes down, shirt. He's running a little bit maybe, or at least in near motion. Hair comes out. Little face shape. Goes into the goatee. He'd probably have an ear. He's not a mutant. Have an eye somewhere in this area. Somewhere in this general vicinity. He's probably not real happy because he's having to run, so we'll put a frown on his face. Most people have some kind of eyebrow. Need to learn to Draw those better. Or it might be good enough. Got a few viewers here. Grateful for all of you. If you want to chime in, feel free to. If you don't want to, I'm just glad you're here. My name's General Grudge, also known as Dwayne Ferguson. I have a website where what you see now, I'm drawing a webcomic called Wow, Pow, and Bam. The website is wowpowandbam.com. Pop by anytime. On my website, as I said, I'm learning to draw. You can see the whole experience. I've got a virtual sketchbook that's got most of everything I've drawn since I started drawing in order. You can see if there's any improvement or not, what needs to still be improved. You can see on the sketchbook right now, you can see maybe 6 of the pages that I've penciled, inked, colored in quotation marks, and lettered. I don't know how to color, so I'm just doing enough coloring so I can learn lettering, because I figure that's something I can understand and learn later. Oh, I've got a text message. Who's that? Oh, it's not important right now. Oh, not that it's not important at all, just it's nothing to worry about. Okay, I need to make sure I don't forget to draw his goatee later. His goatee is very important. Okay, I'm going to consider this panel drawn, ready for inking. Now we're going to move on to one of the hardest ones to draw. It'll be hard to find reference for it. We got a locked door here. We've got Jacob trying to open it, and it says locked. Oh, that's right. I was going to write duck in here. Oh, well, that's not important. It's too late now. I can add it in Illustrator if I feel it's important. But I'm going to go ahead and do locked here so I don't forget again. Because I like stupid sound effects, even though locked isn't really a sound effect. I am a sucker for sound effects on comic book pages. I love collecting original art. If you like to look at original comic book art, go to wowpowbam.com, click on original art. You can see my whole collection. I've got a ton of stuff from John Byrne and Doug TeNapel and a few others. My collection's a lot smaller now than it used to be, sadly, but I've still got 60, 70 pieces on there, so something to be proud of. We've had 5 likes, which is exciting. I haven't done like most people say and say, make sure to like this video and share, which that's probably a good thing to do. So if you would like to like this video and share it with other people, feel free to do so. That's pretty cool. I got 5 likes. You're starting from scratch. Anything is good. I'm having a little hard time because I'm drawing without my light on, hoping people can see it better. I won't really understand how well people can see this at all until I watch it later. It's hard for me to focus on chat, drawing, and looking at the stream because I'm simple-minded. All right, let's get to work on figuring out the perspective and anatomy here. All right, this model will be... It's a shame you can't see these models better. This model will be Bam standing there trying to open the door. He'll have his arm down like this. He's scared because the door's locked and they're trapped. What's he going to do? Somewhere standing here, you've got Paul, also known as Bam, eventually. He's standing right there. And then, can we get these up farther? I need more room. He's going to be ahead, I think, but we'll see. We'll go ahead. Where's my pencil? We'll go ahead and... I'm going to DUM some links to resources that help me when the stream is over. Thank you, Flyfox Pro. That's good to help. Also, please DM me your work on Webtoons. I want to see that. I'll share it too. Look into it. That's a good way to learn too, just to look at other people's work that's trying to learn too. which maybe I shouldn't say that about. I don't know. I haven't seen much about you. You may be a lot farther along than me. I don't mean that like an insult, but we're all learning all the time, I'm sure. Look, let's draw an ear. A very vague ear. Where would your nose be? I'd put your nose here. We'll give you some eyelids. Tell you one thing though, if you're young and you're wanting to draw, don't give up like I did, because it's so much more difficult to learn. His hairline's too low. To learn how to draw when you get older for a lot of reasons, and one of not the least of which is because you just don't have the time anymore that you had when I was young. I had so much time, and I wasted it, threw it away. Now, I've got to work. I got a house to upkeep. I got a wife. I've got a lot of responsibilities. And I'm taking the time. I'm putting a lot of time in drawing, but a lot of time was wasted, and that's a shame. But the way to move on is to stop doing wasting and start the creating. That's what we're doing right now. Let's make sure my head's not in the way. No, I don't think so. I have eye here, nose here. He's a little disturbed, so he's got his mouth open. Again, this is a learning to draw stream, not a teaching to draw. Don't get me wrong, you can come teach me, but I am not teaching anybody. I am learning. I am starting from scratch, pretty much just doing all the basics. Or, well, I don't even know the basics. I hope you understand what I mean. I am trying to learn the basics. And the headset cut off again. That's going to be annoying. I need to look into how to fix that. Part of me wishes I'd have went to art school, but that would have been a complete and utter waste of money. I wouldn't have been able to make a living at it, probably. Is he too small? Have I drawn Jacob too small? It's hard for me to tell because any perspective that I get right at this point, it was completely by accident. So the doorknob's not going to be where I want it to be. I need to change this up. Maybe I can. I don't know. For some reason, my brain tells me the doorknob needs to be right there. That's not. The doorknob could be right there, but I've already drew Huey next to it. Let's see. You'll have a hand here, an arm here, doing stuff. Coming up here. You know what? That's not horrible. Let me check Twitter real quick, and I'll share the link to my stream again. I'll share it on BitChute too. You never know who's watching there. Copy. It must be having the whole stream on here, so I didn't lose that. So that's encouraging. Camera looks great. Nice work. Oh, so Bruce Exwell's been watching. Like him, he's very supportive to me on Twitter. Very nice guy. Thank you, Bruce. See, I tweeted the link again there. Let's do it in Parlor. so the two people in the world that use Parler can see it. Parler created. All right, let's get back to the stream. We got 4 people watching. Hello, everyone. Yada, yada, yada. Like, share, welcome. Haven't done a lot of live streaming. I've done some live streaming of playing video games, but at the most I may have had 1 viewer. Let's see. How does a hand grab a doorknob? Oh, I'm going to look up reference for holding a doorknob. I mean, that's my skill. I literally don't know how to draw anything. Here, that's going to be the first one's going to be near perfect. That's how I like it. Especially if I'm streaming, I don't have to waste a lot of time. 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger, bottom of a hand. This will be the tricky part. Let's get a thumb up here. It's not looking great so far. It'll be placeholder for now, so I can go back to the stream. So I guess the door's going to be over here now, more or less. My original plan was to pencil and ink this whole page through the whole stream. I'm starting to wonder if people will get bored before that. I can always ink it later. I also have the option of just recording the inks and posting them later. I think that'd be even less interesting than watching me live stream it. I'm not sure. Look, Mom, a door. Is that what a door looks like? I should have looked for reference for that, but it's maybe a little generic, but we'll call that a door. Put a little, we'll add a lot more detail to it when we ink it, hopefully. Let's see. Let's do the back of Paul's head here. I did a test stream this morning that I wasn't really happy with. Didn't enjoy the experience, but so far tonight it's been a million times better. I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this. Had a couple people on Twitter say if they weren't busy they would have been here tonight, so hopefully we'll have the chance to have even more people later. Back of Paul's head. Can I see his nose? Maybe. Does that look awkward? I can't even tell. Oh Lord. I've never looked up a reference for his collar. I have no idea how a collar on a military jacket would work. Welcome to the stream. We got a couple of new viewers. You probably came from our Twitter, so you probably know I am. But just in case you don't know, this is my learning how to draw stream. I'm trying to learn how to draw. This is the first non-test stream where I've done this, so this is the maiden voyage. So if you wonder why you're looking at somebody that sucks at drawing, that's the point. I mean, I could lie about it, but I'm pretty sure it would be apparent to anybody with half a brain cell pretty quick. I'm a little worried about the perspective here of Jacob in the door. He's much smaller. Of course, he's a little farther back, but he's not that much farther back. But I think I'm going to have to move on with it just because I don't want to get in the habit of just leaving stuff. I really don't, but got to draw a line somewhere sometimes. He's got a Pink Floyd shirt, which I regret putting him, so I'll have to write Pink Floyd on it. I'm having a hard time seeing without my light on. I'm sure there's a obvious fix for that, maybe just to move it in a different direction. Two, three, 4, 7, 8. Okay, I think that's enough to ink. I know I said earlier in the stream that I didn't need to get in the habit of doing loose pencils because I'm trying to learn, but again, I keep saying it, there's a fine line in moving forward and getting stuck on something, especially if I'm going to stream this, because people are going to have to have a lot of patience to watch me draw anyway. So if I'm drawing the same thing over and over and over and over, I have seen videos of Doug Tenaple where he says sometimes, if it ain't perfect, you just got to move on. That's part of learning. Makes sense. If you spend too much time just trying to do one thing over and over, you won't learn anything overall much. The right hand a lot because you spent 6 months on it. But what have you really learned? I'm going to draw a full webcomic here, so there'll be lots of opportunities to draw whatever I'm struggling with later on. This hand's just a little bit awkward because I'm trying to force it into smaller space than it needs. I think we can cartoony it a little bit. That doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look great, but it's showing what I'm trying to show. Let's see, where did I do those templates? Do I have a big rectangle? Let me look at my other ones. Be right back. What did I do with them? I had them just a minute ago. I'll throw them in the floor. Those aren't rectangles. Those aren't rectangles. That's a square. Circles. It's a rectangle, but it's not quite big enough. I'll just have to. I need to find my ruler. It's so hard to draw comic books without a ruler. It has to be here close by. It always is. Look on the other art table over here. Which, by the way, just laying around here, I have some Doug Tenaple original art I haven't put up yet. You can see all my wowpalm.com. Just click on original art. I just hadn't put that up with the other. He gives you tons of free stuff every time you order something. Signs it, which is really cool. What else? Oh, I got some more stuff laying over here. Might show it off since I take a real quick break from drawing. I got some Mike Lynch. Follow him on Twitter if you don't. He's a really good artist. He sells some stuff on eBay. It's very cheap, very reasonable, and he's very talented. This is a great Wonder Man picture. I love the inking on it. I don't know anything about inking, but I know good inking when I see it. And this is really old school 80s, 90s, 80s Marvel. Mix of John Byrne and Mike Zeck and a lot of people. Really good stuff. Really pretty picture. I got that for, I don't remember how much, but it wasn't much at all. He also gave me a headshot of Wonder Man on another thing. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. I don't want to take it out. I got a bunch of Bigfoot Bill posters from DougTenaple.com, some Bigfoot Bill trading cards, a nice little short comic zine from Doug Tenaple called The Best Worst Jobs of My Life. Real cool stuff. Real cool stuff. Now, what was I actually looking for? I was looking for my ruler. That's right. Should be over here, you would think. But it is not. Hope I didn't throw it away. Cleaned up in here the other day. I wouldn't throw my ruler away, though. It just fell off somewhere. I don't know. Just for people's attention span, I may have to cut this stream short at the end of the pencils. I don't know. I feel like I'm pushing my luck. But the pencils could still take a while. This last panel is going to be a lot of work. I think I've done enough on this panel where I can ink it later. Need to speed it up because I have very little idea how I want to draw this last panel. I know I've got these three guys in the background. Got Paul in the middle. Actually, I guess Jacob should be in the middle. I mean, they could move from panel to panel. I need to think this over with. This would be Huey. I think I want Jacob to be here because he's sort of in the back here. Actually, that's Jacob. I knew that was supposed to be Jacob for some reason. So let's go ahead and draw the outline of his head. He's got hair. This will be Paul. I think I'd be better at drawing his hair now. I don't know. I don't know if I've got the energy to draw this complicated panel tonight. It's got everything in it I have trouble with. It's got multiple characters. It's got at least 6 characters. You got a little light perspective of these bad guys coming down the alleyway. There needs to be lighting here, which I don't even know how to begin doing that yet. But I'm going to have to try. Gosh, I need my ruler. I'll just use this little small one again because these are small panels. I can get away with that. This actually seems a little easier to make lines than the ruler I usually use for some reason. Maybe because it is smaller. See, I don't even know enough about art to tell you what this tool is. It was just in some package of tools I bought 20, 30 years ago. I just kept. It says Helix on it, but I assume that's the name brand. Okay, I think would it be reasonable that the ceiling would be black? These would be bricks. Let's see the chat. I have a couple of Creature Tech pages. Oh wow, yeah. He asked for a little pretty penny for those. I love Creature Tech. I think Doug's still working on the pricing of his original art, so I didn't buy one of those. I think they're like $300 a page, but they were some beautiful ones. There's still, at least the last time I looked, there was still one that I wanted on there for $300. I've been tempted to get it, but I've been trying to focus on things like splash pages and covers and stuff like that. I'll never forgive myself for missing out on the Tommy Source Rex cover. That was cheap. And all I did was walk into the living room and say, "Wife, do you think it's okay if I buy a Tommy Source Rex cover?" And she said, "Heck yeah, buy it." I walked back in the room 3 or 4 minutes later, and I forget this guy I'm friends with on Twitter. He bought it that quick. It was like $350 or maybe 300. I mean, it was nothing. He was giving it away. I missed out. All right, I need to put a little more thought into this. Maybe even use my models. This looks horrible. It's important you be able to tell these are human beings. All right, let's set the models up. Johnny's the biggest guy. He's in the middle. Very menacing and big. Standing like this. Arr. Thinks he's fixing to whoop 3 boys' butts. But he will be robbed of this pleasure on the next page. You got the little the little suck up to his side, and then you got the tool guy over here. They're all sort of got a similar pose. Yeah, I like that. We'll go with that. It'll be hard to get right, though. It's so small. We'll do Johnny first. It's hard for me to judge how big Johnny's supposed to be here. I'm definitely loosening up though, getting used to talking and chat. I don't even think I've shut up the whole the whole time actually. I'll have to foreshadow, shorten up these guys a little bit. Though I don't want them looking too close because I don't know. It's gonna be a hard panel to draw. Gonna have to cheat some. Gonna have to cheat a lot. So you said Gary Shipman was inking your pages. How did you pull that off, Fly Fox? Did you send him digital versions of it, or is he doing that for subscribers? Are you good friends with Gary? Really don't know much about him other than I backed his book, and he's obviously a good artist. I'm already cheating on these models a little bit, but they've been good enough just to get started. He's doing collaborations with people. I suggested my art. I sent him a digital pencil of it. Yeah, that's a really cool thing for a professional artist to do. Back in the day, when you first started being able to connect with some of these artists, professional artists on Twitter. Oh, not before. I mean, way before Twitter. I mean, on the internet. Like the first one I did was my favorite comic book artist of all time, John Byrne. And you get a lot of bad John Byrne stories, but I think most of them are overrated. But one thing that he did do that he had a hard time with, and I can understand it. Like if you're that talented, you see these like amateur people doing stuff, you know, and you can do it so much better. It gets a little annoying, but that's it's really not the right attitude to have. But like if you go to his forum to this day, it says no like fan colors of my original artwork, and I'm pretty sure that's because of me. Back when I used to spend so much time there, I would buy a John Byrne original art, and then I had like Photoshop 2 or something, and I would try to color it just for fun. I didn't think I was a colorist or anything, just goofing off, having fun. And it would clearly bug him. He was never a jerk about it. It was clearly like, God, that's horrible. That's what he would think. It's glad to see that you see a lot of artists today like Gary Shipman and Doug TenNapel and them getting over that. Genuinely talented people, but yet encouraging people. Even John Byrne, I don't go to the forum much anymore, but I do see like where he's teaching some of the artists there, different inking techniques. So he's definitely quit doing that too. Probably don't bother him as bad as it used to. Uh, but since we're talking about John Byrne and bad John Byrne story, I've got a lot of good John Byrne stories. Back in the old days of the internet, when I first got internet, you start looking up things you're interested in. So I was a big John Byrne fan. So I looked up John Byrne. There was an old AOL message board about John Byrne, where John Byrne fans there, and I found it. And very soon after I found that message board, just like as a coincidence, John Byrne started showing up and interacting with his fans there. Anyway, that led, I don't remember the full timeline, but that ended up leading to him creating his own website over at burnrobotics.com and controlling his own message board. He had a lot of trolls and stuff. And over time, there was a couple times he was just unsolicited very nice to me. Like one point, I don't remember how it come up, but I did not have his run on OMAC. And I just mentioned that just in passing, not trying to fish or get anything from him. And he just volunteered. He's like, I will send these to you. And I was like, no, I'll be happy to pay you, blah, blah. And he's like, no, just take them. Just take them. He sent me his complete run on OMAC for free for no reason whatsoever. I was nobody special. If anything, I was annoying to him because, he has very different religion and politics views than me. And I was young and I wasn't afraid to share what I thought. But he was always very respectful of other opinions back then. and he sent me the whole run of OMAC, the One Man Army Corps. And then later, a similar story. I had quit reading comic books at the time. I guess he did Jack Kirby's Fourth World for a period, for whatever reason. And I mentioned I had never read them. He sent me the entire run of John Byrne, Jack Kirby, and I don't remember how many comic books that was, but it was a lot. It was maybe 40. No charge. I didn't ask for him. He didn't have to do it. He just sent them to me. And I always remembered that. I always thought that was extremely nice. Not because I got free stuff, but just because he was nice to a fan, and he had nothing to profit, nothing to gain from it, you know. And so that's why I always get a little annoyed at these bad John Byrne stories. He's a smart guy. I think he gets a little annoyed sometimes at people that are fools, not just people that disagree with him, but just people that are just jerks. And I think that's where most of the bad John Byrne stories come. He's not perfect. He's like any of us. But those are my good John Byrne stories. So anyway, that left a good impression on me on John, being nice to me, not even hardly knowing who I was, probably. I tried to pay it back unofficially later by I used to buy a lot of John Byrne original art, and I would buy it from his wonderful art dealer named Jim Warden. I like Jim. Jim was also a very nice guy, still is. And he had some trouble with his website. I can't remember what it was. So I was making a website at the time, and I said, why don't I just host this for you? So I built a whole section of that website to sell John Byrne art for Jim Warden. I mostly did it because John Byrne had been so nice to me, giving me those free comic books. I don't know if he even knew I did, but that's why I did it. And that website's still up to date. You can go to whatashock.com, which is a great URL I used to own. I thought it was very creative. At one point, I ended up just giving all that to Jim Warden, though, and he still uses it, still sells art on there, I guess. If you're looking for a good original art dealer to buy from, Jim Warden is the best to deal with. Very nice, very kind, always was very good to me. But yeah, I love John Byrne too. John Byrne is my all-time favorite comic book creator, probably always will be. I don't read a lot of his stuff anymore. That's not because it's bad. It's just because I read all of it, just about. For years, I'd read a lot of it over and over again. I haven't done that in a while. I got his complete run of Fantastic Four out. Maybe at the beginning of this year or at the end of last year. I can't remember. I was going to read all of it. I read one issue of it and then just didn't have time. But I'm definitely going to do that again soon. Maybe the next time I'm on vacation, if I can stop drawing for 10 minutes. It's one of my favorite comic runs of all time, John Byrne on Fantastic Four. Better than I hoped. Hopefully I won't ruin it with Wow, Pow, and Bam in the background here. Maybe I should talk more about my webcomic. The synopsis, I guess, if you will, for Wow, Pow, and Bam is basically Galaxy Quest meets Stranger Things, just to make it short. These three boys are kidnapped's not the right word, but they're abducted's not right either. But they are caught by some aliens to be given superpowers, and these aliens are from a planet that, in their travels, come across Earth and found all their superhero comic books. And this was such an advanced race, they had sort of lost all passion and will live. It was so peaceful, there was not much going on. They were sort of just cruising through life. And once they found all these old superhero comic books, they become excited and they based their whole culture on it. So eventually they come up with a process where every person on their planet is a superhero. And they love Earth, and they love superheroes, especially like, let's say, 60s Marvel comic books, that sort of. And they base their whole society on it. And eventually, I won't go into all the plot, just not because it's a secret or anything. A lot of it's on my website. It just takes too long. They get into a war with some rogue people from their planet and blah, blah, this, that, yada, yada. Anyway, they end up giving superpowers to three Earthlings, Wow, Pow, and Bam, which is Paul, Jacob, and Huey. And they give them superpowers to protect their hometown of Chesterton from the bad guy from their planet. Excuse me, who's there trying to find a supernatural power in that area to give him advantage in the war over there. And the reason they can't come to the planet themselves is there's a treaty with him, even though he's breaking it. They're good guys. They're not going to break the treaty, where they're not allowed to, deal with, interfere with Earth because they try to protect Earth. It's kind of the birthplace of their new culture. So anyway, that's sort of the gist of Wow Pow Bam. They meet an alien named Dr. Ulthor, who's a huge comic book fan, like everybody on that planet. But unlike the rest of that planet, he was born with a rare genetic defect where he could not accept the process of becoming a superhero. So he's one of the few people on that planet that's not a superhero. And that's a very tragic thing in that culture. He can't help it, but it doesn't. He takes it in stride, and he decides to help his people through his great scientific skills and stuff. He's also looks after Earth because he's very fond of comic books and Earthlings and stuff. But he has a twin brother who has also the same problem with the genetic issue. He couldn't become super either, but he reacts to it differently. It warps him, messes him up. Their father's the leader of the planet, by the way. His name's True Hero, and he's like the biggest superhero of that planet. I think something like Superman. And he rebels against everything. He's also a great scientist, and he uses his power for evil, and he becomes the villain known as Scientific because he's sort of the main villain, at least of the first couple of issues of Wow Pow and Bam. And that's a quick synopsis of Wow Pow and Bam. You got three everyday kids that are given superpowers by aliens. Again, when I said kind of like Galaxy Quest, you've seen the movie Galaxy Quest, except in that they thought everything was real. These aliens aren't stupid. They know that the comic books aren't real, but they can make them real. Everything on the planet's named after old comic book stuff and comic book creators. So I think it's a really neat concept. I think it has legs. I think it's a lot better than a lot of the community stuff you see as far as an idea. Of course, my biggest problem is I can't draw. And that's one of the things we're trying to learn how to do here is learn how to draw. The little dude looks kind of crappy, and he should be smaller, I think. Anyway, this has been a long stream. I think I'm going to end it now. I'm going to keep drawing and everything, but I think I'm boring people out. But this was a very successful dream. I want to thank Ellis. I want to thank Fly Fox Pro and everybody else that stopped in. Hopefully we'll do this again tomorrow night. All things equal. Thank you for coming. I'm going to end the stream now. Good night.